Hello, everybody. Welcome. Well, everybody. I don't know if actually anybody's here. I can't see. Doesn't seem to be anybody. Um, welcome back to my channel, Book Time with Elvis. With me, Mark, and two wonderful special guests. We've got Jim from Mystery and Mayhem, and we've got that way. I can't do it. I don't know. We've got Greg from Another Bibliophile Reads joining me for this live this evening. How are you doing, gentlemen?
Good, thank you.
Excellent afternoon.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yes.
Pleasure's all mine. You know, it takes the burden off me. I can have you guys chatting, and I get to reap the benefits. So,
oh boy, I was hoping you'd do all the talking.
It's just easy for me that I'm not in charge anymore, so I can just sit back and not worry about the comments building up and whatnot. And
those comments are tricky to stay on top of, aren't they? I noticed that. You know, especially when they're just a lot coming in, and you got to stay on top of them, and you don't want to leave anybody out.
Yeah, definitely. You feel bad afterwards when you go back and you're like, oh, oops.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually going to ask you, Greg, because obviously your show's really taken off. And have you, how far booked up are you, like in advance?
Right now we have Monday booked, and we have two tentative people for the second or the last two Mondays, and we're just trying to figure out which days they want. And then we have some other people who've agreed to be on but have not fixed the date yet.
You haven't had Sean on yet, have you? I think.
No, Sean.
I guess because of House 2.
Alan is the guy who reaches out and says, "Do you want to be on the show?" And Sean said, "Yeah, I'll be on the show." And then he had his issues moving, and we decided you really got to just let him settle down. And now it's looking like we can reach out to him again.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd be happy to do it. So we do have a couple of comments. Hey, Aaron, good to see you. Andrew, evening to you.
Hey, guys.
Guessing Andrew's over my way if he's using evening. So unless he's in Asia somewhere, maybe. I don't know.
I shared your notification on my channel, so I'm hoping that maybe some people come over from there. They'll see it and they'll hop on, which would be nice.
Oh, it's you know, it's always nice when you get people in, but also it kind of, no disrespect to the 7 people who are here, or 8 people now, it also kind of doesn't matter either, really, does it? Because we'll just chat anyway. So
yeah,
it's nice, but it is good to have the interaction. So Andrew's
exactly. Yeah,
Andrew's in the UK, so that's cool.
I was talking to my wife about that last night, and we were watching Gareth's show last night, and there was only 2 people on, but I said it's not about people watching. It's just about, you know, the guys getting together and having a chat, you know, like you would if you were all in the same area. You'd go out to a coffee shop and
I can
sit around talking.
This is my pub time, other than we're not in a pub.
Yeah.
I did. I was in the pub last week. I don't normally go, but a friend of mine had his birthday, and for my Patreon, I do a daily update. And I said to them, you know, probably on Friday I won't be able to do it because I'll be doing it in the pub. And then I joked like, I could probably do it from there. And they said, yeah, what a great idea. So of course, you know, I think I logged on about 10 o'clock or something this time after a few beers, and it was terrible. You know, I was completely like slurring my words, and I was in a bowling alley, and it was like, yeah. But you know,
we've thought about doing that. Like going to different pubs. The only problem is the noise in a pub, background noise. And then someone mentioned background music could potentially get a copyright strike on you. And
oh boy, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. But I don't know though, because there is something to do with like if you're talking over the music. You know, it's like, isn't it you're allowed to comment on stuff if you talk over some percentage of it or something like that? You know how people
no idea.
They get away doing like these film reviews by showing the films because they're kind of narrating over the top.
They're doing commentary.
Yeah.
So I have seen some of those channels and they say, well, I can't do this film for copyright reasons. So who knows? It's not an area that I really want to go into too much.
The copyright stuff can be weird, though. I remember putting some music in my background, and then I got a copyright, the softest one. I don't know if it's just infringement. And apparently the only place my video couldn't be played was Russia. This was before the Ukraine thing. So I thought, that's weird. Why is this song okay everywhere else? But in Russia, because I've got this song in it, nobody can watch it. So
interesting.
Didn't you get a copyright strike for a Mozart opera? You were talking about it.
Maybe, but you see
that years ago.
Yeah, I mean that. The problem with those is that obviously the recordings are what's copyrighted, not the music. So I guess if I'd got an orchestra together myself and put it out there, then it wouldn't matter. But I think my problem with it was that it was in the recording I got said it was in the public domain. I think I got it off Wiki Commons, and I had it, but apparently it wasn't. So yeah, it did get copyrighted in that. And then I had a really weird one where I made these shirts, not this one, but I had shirts where I would take like a famous author and I would write their name, and then in their name I would put like their portrait across the different letters, and then their signature. And one of these online shirt companies told me I was in violation of the rights of Jane Austen. And I said, are you kidding me? She's been dead 200 years. It doesn't matter at all. And they were serious. It's like they have like a script to work to, and they couldn't get around it. So I don't know. It's weird.
It makes you wonder if do they still have family, maybe,
I don't think it matters in this case, though. I mean,
at
that point, it's moot. I mean, she died in 1830 something.
And public domain stuff only lasts 70 years or 80 years, whatever it is.
Author's life plus 70, I think, something like that.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's weird. I don't know. But hey ho. Anyway, chaps. So from me, this is going to be pointless because I can't believe I've got to the 12th day of the year and I have not yet finished a book. But I suppose one of the books I'm reading is War and Peace, is taking up a bit of my time. I'm wondering first off, what have you finished? And then we'll talk a bit about what you're currently reading. So we'll start with you, Jim.
Well, I showed this on another, the last one I read. I haven't been doing much reading, but I read that one. And I've been reading a lot of Sherlock Holmes stuff too, like a lot of short stories. I'm a short story fan, so I like the book you have that you showed me, and those MX books of Sherlock Holmes. I've been reading just a lot of them. Yeah. But I just started reading actually a murder mystery by A.J. Hoyt called Watch Me. And my wife has been, it's a 2-series, Watch Me and Catch Me. And my wife read them, and they're her books. And she said she's been bugging me to read them forever. And they're pretty brutal. I mean, it starts out like right away, like brutal. Like it's a little hard to read, but it's one of those murder mysteries that are pretty brutal, but apparently it's really good. And I'm 6 chapters in, so I should be able to get through that one probably this weekend. But so far so good. And A.J. Hoyt, I looked up, I Googled his name. I couldn't find a lot under him, but apparently it's a pseudonym of somebody called Christopher Hyde. And he's written a lot of other books under his real name, but it was only 2 or 3 books under the A.J. Hoyt name. But really good so far. And I'll feature that on my on an episode, I imagine, sometime in the future.
Cool.
How about yourself?
Me? Nothing.
Yeah. Oh, nothing. You said nothing. Yeah, which is fine. That's good. I'm
this close, really, to finishing my book club, one of my book club books, because I decided with the Patreon thing to do one non-fiction and one fiction, and the fiction one hello, but the fiction one I'm almost finished, and it's an odd one. It's called The Fraud by Zadie Smith. And it's actually Roz from Scally Dangling About the Books has a nice review about it on her channel from last year. But it's even hard to say what it's about. Actually, it features a lot of well-known Victorian authors like Charles Dickens, and kind of one of the main characters in it is a guy called William Harrison Ainsworth, who was a real author and rival of Dickens. And he has a cousin, this woman, and I don't know. I can't even explain it properly. But basically, there's this very famous court case going on in Victorian England in the 1860s, 70s, called the Tichborne case, and it was when this man, Sir Roger Tichborne, went on a ship. The ship sank, and his mum believed that he wasn't dead, so she, for 20 years, kept putting out all these advertisements and things around the world, around the empire and stuff like that. And eventually one day, 20 years later, this man turns up claiming to be her son, except he's got, like, instead of being an aristocrat, he's got a Cockney accent. He's 200 pounds heavier than he ever was. He doesn't know much about it, but she accepts him. And this is all true. Yeah, this is true. She's put it in the novel, but this is a true story. And she accepts him. And then, like, a few months later, she dies. He should inherit it all. And then there's this massive, like, civil court case that takes place. In the end, they decide it's not him. So then he's immediately arrested and put onto, like, a criminal court case for, like, perjury and whatever. And this is like the background of that book. But then it's also intertwined with slavery. It goes back and forth in time, and it's weird. It's like it's trying to be a lot of things without really doing any of them super successfully. It's like, it's okay, it's readable. I'm interested in parts of it, but I don't love it. That's all I can say, really. Sorry, I'm babbling on. Greg, what have you finished? You probably finished 12 days in. You probably finished 12 books, haven't you?
Well, I was rooting through my Kindle because I was actually inspired by one of your videos of your 5 great classics.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking for my 5 favorite short stories. So I found a book that I'd forgotten. I had a new translation of Franz Kafka's The Metamorphosis.
Oh.
So I said, it was in a book form. It was published by itself. I said, hey, wait a second. I can count this as reading a book because it's published independently. So, it's like 110 pages with notes. So I said, I read that, and it's really, it works really well with a book I had read earlier in the week called Johnny Got His Gun.
Oh, yeah. And
the reason is because in that story, you have a narrator who has trouble communicating because of his serious injuries. And then you have Gregor Samsa, who's now a giant insect, who also cannot communicate with people. So I found that just sort of a interesting parallel, about the inability to communicate.
And Jim, you mentioned you finished. I saw your video, actually. I think, was it in your video or was it on a live?
I think it was on a live. It was on Greg's and Alan's live. I mentioned
the Lady Chatterley. Yeah. And of course, that's one of the works that entered the public domain this year. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I just happened to find it at a bookstore, that physical copy, and I've been wanting to read it for a long time. I've read excerpts before. But
it was definitely Greg and Alan's live. I remember Greg's disappointment at the lack of sexy stuff in it.
Yeah, well, the naughty stuff was very tame, and I didn't expect any more, since it was written in the 20s, and with modern current sensibilities, you read the book and you wonder why they ever, banned it to begin with, but there was 4-letter words in it, and as Greg and I talked about, and MJ mentioned that, I mean, she was having relations with a groundskeeper who was very far below her station. And I guess that's, people just took deference to that back in the day, but
the irony would be if it had been the other way around. If it had been Lord Chatterley's lover, who was the chambermaid, probably wouldn't have mattered so much.
No,
I'm sure it would have been fine.
Well, didn't they have Victorian porn? It was called the Pearl or something. There
is some, and there's actually some Victorian erotica on Project Gutenberg.
That's actually rather explicit.
Oh yeah, there's some really explicit stuff on there. I was surprised. Yeah. I can't remember why I came across it. It was something to do with the author. Came up in some other book, and I Wikipedia'd him. And then at the bottom, it had a link to the book on Project Gutenberg, and it opened up a whole new world for me there. So, but I have to say, I'm not. I know some people are fans of erotica and stuff, but it's one of those things that I just find a little bit kind of repetitive. There's only so many ways I think that you can really discuss that kind of stuff, and I'm not a prude, but I don't know. It's not necessarily.
I agree. I mean, if it's in a story, it takes me out of the story. Just okay, like we understand, they had sex or whatever, and that's fine. I don't need the details because it takes me out of the story, unless the book is specifically about that and meant to be that. I'd rather just move on with the story.
I'm like that with films and series now. I have to say, sometimes I actually find myself just fast forwarding because I'm like, what's the point? I mean, I don't know whether it just seems that people always have to just jump into bed, and it's okay, come on, okay, that's not that interesting. Well, of course, rewind 30 years ago, I'd have been like, wait, here we go.
Well, I last year, the year before, I discovered naughty westerns. There are these.
Oh. See, I can't read them though, Greg. I tried reading them. I like the Gunsmith series, and Lone Star, and I love westerns. I have all kinds of westerns, and I tried reading one of them, and I got to one of those scenes, and I said, "No, this just isn't working for me, man. This isn't my." It's not that I think the heroes have to be like celibate or anything. I would rather not that be in my westerns. That's all.
Well, yeah. The problem is you have a standard Western plot, and then you have the main character. I think it was a Lone Star where he goes to take the laundry out, and there's this beautiful laundress, and all of a sudden, yay, have a couple pages.
She just happens to be in a saucy negligee. She's out doing the laundry, and
yeah. But the problem I have, especially with that, is it ceases to be sexy when I think about. She's probably riddled with venereal disease. She probably hasn't had a bath in like God knows how long. All this kind of stuff starts playing on my mind anyway when I'm reading any sexy stuff in historical fiction.
Not just her, but him as well.
Oh, God, even worse.
No one bathes back then.
No, but
that's right. Yep. You can't smell anything because everybody smells bad.
There was a famous quote. I think they were talking about Wittgenstein, the very famous philosopher. He was out studying, and he said, he went back to his home every quarter or something on a break. And he said, and I took a bath, whether I needed one or not.
Oh boy, they actually thought that they would get sick from taking a bath,
right?
So it was healthier not to have a bath, and I just can't imagine that.
Well, considering the water that they may have had, it may have been somewhat true.
Well, that's why they made beer, because they couldn't drink the water. So they'd make beer and they'd drink that instead of drinking water.
Well, you come to the Czech Republic, you can take a beer bath in the spas. They have the beer spas where you can bathe in the beer.
Oh, really?
So, there you go. You see, you might even want to drink that bath water. I don't know.
That's on my bucket list. Beer bath on my bucket list.
But I remember, didn't they bathe even with clothes on, some type of clothes? And I'm sure I've seen Napoleon and people actually in the bath with not blankets, but sheets and stuff over them and flowing on the floor. And who's the guy? So. Who's the guy who gets assassinated in the bath?
Marat.
Yeah. Isn't he? Well, no, he's got a writing table in his bath, but maybe he's got some sheet or something as well. So
yeah.
I got a few comments. Let's just pop in there. Andrew says transformative. Sorry, Andrew, I missed the point of that. If you're still there, let me know what you mean. Bill, hi, Bill. Good to see you. Sonia says hello to us all.
Hello.
Ganesha also says hi to all of us. Very nice of
Ganesha.
him. They're in India, currently reading medieval historical fiction about the Plantagenets, a 14-book series.
Wow.
Huh. I never. Okay. You got to put a author down or a title so we can look it up.
Let me know the series name or who wrote it. Sounds interesting. I'm wondering if it's the
cool.
I don't know if it's the Iron King series. It might not be 14 books, but I'm not sure what that is. Yeah. So, how's your 700,000 book challenge going, Greg?
I am at book 55 or 56. So I'm going to finish. I set out to do 20 weeks. And I'm going to finish. I mean, last year I did it in 20 weeks, but I included audiobooks.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, just to stir things up, I'm not counting my audiobooks towards my challenge. You know, the reason why is every year I buy a lump sum of 24 credits in October. And I say, well, I already own the credits. I sort of own the books. And so I counted them. And this year, you know, because I have to use the credit or it expires in a year. So this year I'm just listening to my audiobooks as normal and just not counting them as either books I can't buy or towards my reading goal. So I'm actually doing much better than I did last year. But I'm also pushing real hard on some shorter books, like Kafka's The Metamorphosis. That was 100 pages, 110 pages, you know, so you can knock that out real quick.
Yeah.
Have you got any Harabal?
I do.
Because he's usually very short. You could knock several of his out of the park in no time at all.
Yeah, I have a collection of 2 of his novellas.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the problem with Harbaugh is the last one I read was Closely Watching Trains, I think is the translation.
You know, Closely Observed Trains. And
something along those lines. And, you know, it's set right after World War II. It's a humorous book set in a culture with a different sense of humor and going in translation. And it did not work for me. Although he had one book that I liked, Too Loud a Solitude.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm living in his culture, so
right.
I'm getting used to his stuff every day. Right. And, you know, Closely Observed Trains, for me, I didn't like it. There were parts of it I did like. Again, there's sex in it, of course. I was like, oh, here we go. But I think it's the brutality, and this is something I've noticed with him. That's it there. I just have it on the shelf. And you can see it's not particularly long, so you can definitely get through it as part of your challenge.
I have it here too. Where's my hardball?
Actually, I have a couple more behind me. You can see he's not one for huge opuses.
Yeah, here's mine.
Oh, the translation.
The Americans and the British have slightly different title.
Mine was done by Edith Pargetter. I don't know why they'd have multiple translations, but maybe they just.
I just picked up a copy of The Outsider by Albert Camus, which is a little tiny. It's almost like a booklet. So I might read that next.
That's one of my all-time favorite books.
Is it really?
It really is.
I've never read them.
Now, it hit me at the right point in life when I was sophomore in college.
Oh yeah.
So what happened was we had this class for English, majors, and everyone in class had to pick a book to read and write like 5 or 6 different types of papers on it, exploring like the biographical approach and the historical, whatever. I can't remember the approach. They had 6 approaches to criticizing a book. So we had to write 6 papers on a book that we chose. And I just happened to, actually, I want to do Sound and the Fury. And the teacher says, no, that's too complicated. Pick something else. So, but it's an existential, sort of like an existential fiction that just really sort of appealed to a young man.
Do you know why you picked that one? Do you remember why you picked that
I don't
book? Was
remember
it just
why.
handy?
It was just, it was like in a bookstore. Oh, this book is like 120 pages. I'll pick that one.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I went to one of those little local, little library boxes, that people have in front of their house, and I saw it there, and I snagged that one.
Well, it's good.
Yeah,
You can read and see how it appeals after you've outgrown your youth.
Yeah, it's funny how that works, eh? How books can hit differently depending on what age you're at.
Absolutely.
When you read it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or what you've gone through in your life experience.
I don't have that one. I do have it, but it's not behind me. I was going to say they would appeal to you, though, I think, Greg, with the covers. From Rabal.
Oh, that's awesome.
You got a lot sexier covers than I do. I serve the king of England.
Yeah. Serve the King of England. I've got that somewhere as well, and I don't know if you can see it, but
this is actually long, 240 pages
woman on the cover there.
But
I haven't got it here. I don't know. Actually, I don't even know where it is. So,
yeah. Well, I might have to look for that author.
Well, I mean, it can take no time at all to read him. But the problem I've got with him, I've got another book, and you definitely can't read it, Greg. I won't allow you to read it. I forgot the name of it. I could have had that as my most disturbing book. Actually, maybe I'll do that because it was pretty darn disturbing. But it's a non-fiction by Hrabal about his cats.
Oh,
and this is the problem with him is like he was obviously I can't say it. So he had mental health issues, because he ended up committing suicide. But he was already quite old when he did it. And he had this thing where he owned a cottage. He used to go to the cottage like a lot of Czechs. They have a weekend cottage that they'll go to, and he kept cats there. And he became, he really liked them, and then he became really obsessed with them, and then he became brutal with them, like horrible. Oh. And this is the thing: his books sometimes take a horrible turn. It was like in this one, I was actually enjoying Closely Observed Trains until there's like a horrific incident with a bull or something. I
don't even remember that incident, honestly.
I don't know. The animal stuff always bothers me more than the people stuff, I have to say. Maybe there's something wrong with me, but
no, I'm the way I like violence against people. I'm a lot more tolerant of, but like violence against animals is just
Well,
the thing is, actually, I'll get it. It's just in another room.
I wonder if each translation dealt with it differently. Like maybe Greg's or Mark's translation was a little more brutal than the one in your book. Like maybe they toned it down. Yeah.
They mention in translations like the one I always bring up is Dostoevsky's Brothers Karamazov.
Mm-hmm.
There is a character called Lizaveta Shmirdakova or something like that, and Shmirdakova in Russian indicates something smelly. So in most translations, you'll see are called reeking Lizaveta or stinky Lizaveta, but the Constant Garnett translation just dropped it. Now, another translator just didn't translate it. And the reason why is she was very prudish, and she did not want to point out that a woman could be smelly.
Well, see, they put their own little personal grievances and grudges in there when they translate these, which I'm not sure.
Well, bad translators do that. Good translators just look at it and say, well, how do I communicate this information?
Yeah.
So I got it. And you see, the problem was, it's one of those cases where I judged a book by its cover.
Oh.
And so it wasn't quite so fluffy as that.
Oh, how sweet. He's there feeding his cats, and it's all the little kittens, and it's going to be a charming little read, because again, it's a chunkster. And I was like, That's great. And I should have even read the back properly, because it says in 1965, Hrabal bought a weekend cottage in the countryside east of Prague. There until his death, he tended to an ever-growing unruly community of cats. This is his confessional, tender and shocking meditation on the joys and torments of his life with them, how he became increasingly overwhelmed by the demands of the things he loved, even to the brink of madness. Dark and strange, it begins with warmth and fluffiness. Yes, it does. But soon descends into Dostoevsky and horror. I didn't read the back. I was like, oh, that's such a cute cover. Yeah, I'll get that. I'll read that. Oh, read the back,
boy.
people.
Yeah. Yeah, know what you're getting into. But are you glad
Greg,
you read it?
It's not for you, Greg, definitely.
Not for me. All right.
No.
But my favorite, I guess, was Too Loud a Solitude. No, that's about a man who has to burn books in the Czech Republic. So that's actually not a bad one to pick up for banned books this year. I don't know if that book would be banned or it's just about burning of books. I can't.
Is the banned books thing global, or do they have to have just been banned in North America or in the UK?
Well, I don't think there's a rule. I mean, we got Gareth participating. He's in the UK and he can read American. I mean, the Metamorphosis I looked up was banned in Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union. So I'm thinking I can count that as a banned book then.
God, did they ban everything?
Yeah, quite a few things.
Yeah.
Anything by Jewish authors. I mean, I've got a couple that would definitely have been banned. Have you read Mendelssohn on the Roof?
No.
It's by another Czech author, Jiří Weil. He was killed. Was he killed in the Holocaust? Or maybe not after. I might be wrong. But he wrote this book. Again, it's kind of a dark comedy where, like, when the Germans occupied Prague, they said, in the main opera house, they had the statues, all these stone statues of all the great composers. And I don't know if it was Reinhard Heydrich or somebody said, okay, you have to take down the statue of Mendelssohn because he's a Jew. And of course, like, the order goes down the line and the head of the work detail says, all right, got to take down Mendelssohn, who's a Jew. And they said, well, how do we know which one's Mendelssohn? And he said, well, he's the one with the biggest nose. So they go along and, like, choose the statue with the biggest nose. They take it down and turns out it was Wagner. So they have to deal with this situation. I think was he killed in the Holocaust?
I don't know. I don't know the book, so I just don't know.
Well, living here, of course, I've tried to get more and more into Czech authors because they do have a proud literary tradition. That's it there, if you can see.
Oh, I have a book by him.
Yeah,
I do. What do I have by him?
Oh no, he didn't die in the Holocaust. He died in 1959. I'm thinking of the Hungarian.
Yeah, this is a book by that same author, Life
with a Star.
Life with a Star. Sorry about the glare. It's just my Mylar cover.
Yeah, those Holocaust stories are brutal. I don't know if you guys have ever read Night by Elie Wiesel.
Oh yeah,
I saw it. Yeah, very
and
tough.
Timo Levi, If This Is a Man, is another really good memoir on that subject.
Journey by Moonlight is the one I'm thinking of. Anatol Serb. He was Hungarian and he wrote this book, and he was killed by the Germans. I think he was actually beaten to death, which is quite horrible. So, yeah. But anyway, a few comments. Sorry, I am neglecting them a little bit here. Sorry, everybody. So MJ's here, or was here. I don't know if she's still here.
MJ.
Hi, MJ.
Andrew.
Happy Friday.
Andrew, when he said transformative, was talking about music in the background during a live stream. Could it be considered transformative and not cause a copyright strike? It's possible, I guess. Ganesha said the author of the 14 series they're reading is, I don't know if it's Jean Plady or Jean Plady. She has different pen names for different genres. And then we have a few people saying hello to others. Scott is maybe here. I'm guessing it's Scott. I might be wrong.
Could be Scott and Becky. I don't know.
Could be Becky.
Hello.
Dallas Jensen is here. Have any of you read the Inspector Shan books by Elliot Patterson?
No.
No.
No. What are they? Is that Inspector Shan like a Chinese name? I wonder. Could be interesting. I like those kind of things. Bill says books were a lot more magical in the 60s and 70s. Rereading 50 years later, the magic is missing.
Is that the books or is that you though, Bill? It could be we're a little jaded now that we're older. I mean, you try to recreate that feeling, when you first read books, and it's tough. It's tough to do.
Zap says hello to everybody.
Hey, Zap.
Hi, Zap.
Ganesha says Mark is funny, throwing the teddy bear to a pet puppy. Yes, I am constantly.
He never tires.
Sorry?
He never tires.
He doesn't. This live stream could go for 5 hours and it would be the same. Of course, if my attention is not on anything else, he'll go to sleep and he'll sit there like,
he's looking for attention.
He's sitting. We do.
Hey, Elvis.
Hey, Elvis. Well, Mark, when I'm sitting at my computer and my screens, that's when the cats come up and want attention.
Well, I've got a cat here. He doesn't come near me when I'm doing this. I don't know why. He did one time, but if my wife's here, he's fine. But I think if she's not here, then he won't want the attention. But I don't know. Maybe he'll wander in. His name's Poe, and when you see him, you'll know why we called him Poe. It was either that or Hitler. So we went with Poe. The little.
Could have been Charlie, no?
Could have been Charlie Chaplin too. That was the third one.
Is it a milk mustache? We had a cat with a milk mustache.
Well, chocolate milk. Chocolate milk mustache.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a tuxedo cat, so he's black and white.
Uh-huh.
So, he's got the little black brush mustache kind of thing, which is a little cockeyed. So, he looks like Poe. Edgar Allan Poe.
Sonia concurred with you, Greg. She also enjoyed Too Loud a Solitude. Ganesh is asking quite a difficult question. I don't know if I can really answer it. I want to know why Bobby Fischer, the chess player, who's a Jew, hates Jews. Any insights? I mean, there are, it is a thing, isn't it? The so-called self-hating Jews or I don't know if it's like, I'm not Jewish. I can't really say, but I don't know if it's more when people make that distinction sometimes between Judaism and Zionism and this kind of stuff, that you have Jews who are against aggressive expansion of Israel, maybe this kind of thing. So I don't know if he probably hates Jews, but he might not like, let's say, Israeli foreign policy or internal policy, however you want to look at it. But I don't know.
There's a lot of that going on now with, the conflict in Gaza,
it's just too complex, isn't it, for us? I think, to even, it's what's the word? It's a poison chalice. Yeah. It is Scott. Yeah, of course. Becky's actually doing work.
Work.
Yeah. Aaron says Elvis clearly understands his importance in the house, but thinks you've forgotten Mark when you're alive. Well, yes, that's true. I never have, of course. Books with Nola. Hello there.
Hello.
It does look interesting. Dallas Jensen again. Is it Jensen or Jensen? Inspector Shan's Tibetan, who at the start is imprisoned by the Chinese. So that could be interesting. I do like these kind of quirky foreign detective stories. So, yeah. Huh. It's like, if we go back to Sherlock Holmes, I believe there was like a really popular series in the Soviet Union with Sherlock Holmes, actually. It was like super popular over there.
They love Sherlock Holmes.
Sorry?
They love Sherlock Holmes over there in Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
And the Japanese people as well. Like they just love Sherlock Holmes.
What are you going to say, Greg?
I was about to say, it's like Sherlock Holmes probably wouldn't break that social realist barrier that you couldn't put out. I mean, in the Soviet Union. I mean, I guess.
He's got this all-encompassing appeal, I think, to everybody. And, you know, and again, he's asexual for the most part. Like that part doesn't even come into it. He's very logical, and I think people can just identify with that. You know, it's all about the mystery and character. But yeah, it's amazing. Like 1887, A Study in Scarlet was written, and he's still strong today. I have to apologize to you, Mark. One live stream, you mentioned his birth date, and I said no, it's under contention, but his birth date's never been under contention. I think it was more of his chronology that's kind of under contention. I guess it's pretty concrete that his birthday was January 6th. And I forget the year, but yeah, I apologize for that.
It's all right. Well, no, it's not. I was so aggrieved by it, Jim. I was so angry. I couldn't sleep for weeks.
Yeah, there's contention under his chronology and what came first and how things played out. But his birthday's never been under contention, apparently.
Now, I'm guessing you guys are very well organized, kind of, with your books, and me not so much, because, you know, we were just talking about I served the King of England, and I said I've got it. You know, the whole time we're talking now, I'm thinking in my head, where the hell is it? You know, and I won't be able to sleep tonight until I've dug it out, even though I don't need it. Because I look, you know, I've got all the vintage ones kind of there behind me. And I've got, and it's one of those, and it's not there. So
oh boy, you'd be wrong though, Mark. I'm very unorganized. Like certain things I've got organized. I've got my Sherlock Holmes organized, my hard-boiled mystery anthologies and stuff, and my Robert E. Howard and Edgar Rice books. But everything else is just a mess. I just bought a series of books about an Italian inspector by Donna Leon, and I was going to show you the books, but I have no idea where I put the books. I've got like 10 or 15 of them I just bought, paperbacks, and I'm looking around. I have no idea where they are. They're just lost. They're just in limbo right now. And yeah, Inspector something Brunetti or something, and they look very intriguing. And yeah, God knows where they are. But certain things are organized. Eh?
Sorry, Jim.
I'm pretty organized. Hold on. It's like,
that's beautiful.
I keep all my hardcovers together, and then you can scroll around, and then I start.
Are they alphabetized or how?
Alphabetized by author. Nice. And then I have my trade paperbacks, and over there you can see my mass market paperbacks.
Very nice.
And I do that because they look better together when they're of similar size. It just fits.
Do you double stack at all, like one row in front of the other with your paperbacks?
Not at this time.
I have to do that. Like I wish I could just spread them all out, but I don't have the room or the bookshelves. But I've got them one row behind another row, and I hate that.
I hate it too, but
yeah,
at least in this house, I have room to expand.
That's beautiful.
I want to. Although I rarely buy new physical books anymore. The only time I really buy physical books are the used out of print books. Is when
it looks like you have floor space where you could get some long bookshelves and put them in the middle of the floor, like back to back.
I mean, I can give you like a quick, you know, this is just.
Oh yeah,
it's bigger than my entire apartment.
Mine too.
Hold on. This house, you know, we're gonna have it built, and really, for my wife and myself, we only need the upstairs. Yeah. It has, you know, bedroom and a guest room, and then we're filling out the designs, and we decide, well, just fill out the basement for me, you know, and we kind of just didn't realize just how huge it would be down here. That this basement is about 1,300 square feet, which is bigger than some family homes, because you don't even see the guest room and the bathroom and the 2 storage rooms down here. So it's just
Wow.
Well, I think we really know the reason why you had the house built, Greg. It was all to house the books.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the cats.
and again, well, we only have 3 cats. So that's
So
not.
you could get a few more, to be honest. You wouldn't even notice.
Well, the thing is, there's a possibility we might be getting another cat, but 3 is enough because you got to give them all individual attention and
Yeah.
And they don't all get on, I guess, initially, do they?
Actually, we're surprised that all of our cats are buddies.
Straight away?
Not straight away, but pretty close. Within a month or 2, they'll curl up together and sleep together and play together. And
good. We've been thinking of getting another cat to keep ours company because he gets a little lonely. He relies on us a little too much. I think he needs a little buddy to keep himself occupied.
Has he ever met any other cats?
Not really. No, my son has a dog, and when he brings the dog, I mean, the cat's nowhere to be found. So he's not keen on other, even people. Like if anybody else shows up, he disappears. Except for my stepson, if he comes down, but he's known him since he was a kitten. So it's only the 3 of us that he'll really feel comfortable with, and he'll stay. In the living room or whatever. Anybody else shows up, or an animal or a dog, he disappears. He's gone. Nowhere to be found.
Yeah, well, cats are like that initially. And they will introducing cats, is a process. Sometimes they'll just say, I accept that, I acknowledge that you live here, leave me alone. That's a pretty typical reaction. But sometimes, now, when we got Teddy, because he was a stray when he lived in Washington, and he befriended all the cats and dogs. I mean, he's a cat that likes dogs, which is kind of. We had a dog at a time, and he would go up to the dog, and he would rub his head against the dog's legs, and just doing affectionate cat thing. The dog would look down like, "What are you doing to me, cat?"
Yeah.
Well, Elvis is a dog who tolerates cats. He doesn't go for them at all. He's actually more afraid of them than anything. But he won't go after them. He won't aggressively behave that way at all towards cats. But I'm just wondering, Jim, like if you get another cat, what's it going to be called? Like Fenimore Cooper or Hawthorne or?
Oh, I don't know. We'll have to see the cat first, see what he looks like.
Yeah.
Stalin.
I want an animal that I can call Marlowe. I've always wanted a dog, and I just call him Marlowe. So I don't know. Maybe if we get another cat and he looks Marlowe enough, I'll call him Marlowe.
I've always liked, though, animals that have people names, whether it's like Dave, Brian, Keith, Robert.
Yeah.
What we've got? We got a few more. Roy was here. I don't know if he's still here. Hi, Roy. Good to
Roy.
see you.
Hey, Roy.
Well, I hope they stuck around.
Andrew says, I'm looking forward to Homes Where the Heart is Challenged. I'm usually reading fantasy and science fiction, so it'd be a nice change of scene.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. It's almost like I don't know, when you pick up Sherlock Holmes, it is almost like, I know it's a bit corny, but it is kind of like going back to an old friend almost, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah, I agree. It's comforting to me.
It is comforting.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Russians Jenny met were astounded that Brits weren't all wild about Galsworthy. Yes. Yeah. Who was I watching the other day was reading the Forsyte Saga. I read the first one last year, the end of last year. I need to crack on with that actually.
Someone read Galsworthy recently, or not recently, within the past year and a half.
Well, it was me within the past year.
Oh, Pat, okay, you're the one who talked about Galsworthy. Okay.
Probably, yeah. But I really enjoyed it. I haven't cracked on with the rest. I got all 3 volumes. I really should of the Forsyte Saga at least. So I've got to crack on. Ganesh talking about their speed reading around 28 pages an hour, ebooks, PDF. How about all your speed reading? I need to work on this.
Oh.
So your reading speed. Yeah, I don't know actually.
I've never paid attention either. I mean, if I sit down and read, I can go pretty fast. Like I read Stephen King's 11/22/63 in like 2 days because I did nothing but read. It was just a big tome, but I just tore through it in 2 days. But I've never really paid attention, what my actual reading speed is.
It depends really on what you're reading. And sometimes it's surprised. I remember last year or the year before, I read a book, Night of the Crabs by Guy Ann Smith. It's like 150 pages. And I started it like 6 p.m. and I finished it that evening. So that it's like really fast. But some, especially when you get into literary works or nonfiction, I'm more with the 28 pages an hour because you have to slow down. You just can't swallow it in that fast.
Yeah, like a regular mass market paperback, like a mystery or something, I could read in a day, really. But yeah, like with literary stuff, like Lady Chatterley's Lover took me maybe 8 days or something, 7 days or something like that. But I didn't read it constantly. But I took my time with it.
I think it does. I mean, it really does come down to the book and the style. I mean, to be honest with you, if I didn't have to read anything else, if I didn't have to go to work, I think I would be pretty close to 2/3 of the way through War and Peace, at least this edition. It's very, very readable. I mean, when I'm reading it, I am reading it. I took a leaf out of your book, Greg. I put the phone in the drawer for 2 hours and read, and I was surprised, how much I got done. And it's quite hard having to juggle other books because I kind of just want to stay and read this one. So, got a few more there. Zap saying it's about average. Yeah, I don't know, but I guess it could all depend on things. Andrew's quite disorganized. Terrible. He mixes his hardbacks with his paperbacks. Oh my goodness.
Most people do. I started because I worked at this bookstore called Crown Books, starting in the 80s, and that's how they organized their shelf. They had hardcovers, trade, and mass market paperbacks. And I just always kept up that habit.
I never really thought about it myself. I think I mix them, because I keep authors together. Like I keep all my Edgar Rice Burroughs together or whatever. And there's trade paperbacks and hardbacks together. But then all my paperbacks, the mass market paperback size are together. So I don't know. It's never really anything I thought about.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I suppose mine are mixed up, actually. It just depends. I'm not, I'm lacking for space. So if I have some extra space on a shelf with hardbacks, then some paperbacks go on it. But hopefully that will change once I get to move. Although, of course, I'm not going to have anything like Greg's vast, cavernous underworld of books there.
You must be excited, though, to set it up, though, Mark, once you get in there and set up your books and everything.
Yeah, I'm not so excited about moving everything, but then of course I still don't have Greg, your logistics of pretty much moving from one coast to the other. I've only got to go 15 minutes up the road, but it will be nice to get that all done. It's just, I think I've got a bit of stress just thinking about everything that has to be done before I can move in.
Yeah.
And whether it's
Mark, I've been there.
No,
we did it cross country, so it's like
for sure. It's tough. Yeah. It's tough, man. It's a disruption in your life. I've lost count how many times we've had to move, and if I have to, I've been here 11 years now in this apartment, and I've acquired so many books, and I just to move them all, it would just be stressful. I'm going to be anxiety ridden. It's going to be awful. I just want to stay here. But
what about in Canada, Jim? I mean, because you mentioned obviously living in a flat. Do some people do that? Because I guess maybe you live in a flat in the city. It's easier, especially in the winter. do some people have like holiday cottages or like cabins and
Oh,
stuff that they go
oh,
to
sure
for
they
the
do.
weekends? Or
Yeah, up north they got cottages. Yeah, there's like up northern Ontario.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's quite a, like I don't. I wish I did, but yeah, a lot of people. Yeah, they go up there to their summer cottage for 2-3 weeks, and or campsites. I mean, campsites are huge in Ontario. I mean, there's campgrounds everywhere, and people have permanent trailers on the site, or I mean, ones they can move around. But yeah, it's a huge thing
Yeah,
for sure.
it's a big thing here too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But sometimes it can be weird as well because sometimes people who live in the countryside actually have also a country house that they go to the weekends because
Oh.
I think that's like how to say, like the inheritance laws and stuff are strange here, so people can kind of accumulate a lot of property without doing anything, like because
Yeah.
some aunt dies and it just goes to you and whatever. So yeah, sometimes people get a lot, and then of course a lot of people got stuff back at the end of communism, right, as well. So it's like the owner of the castle in my town, the chateau in my town, he was just living the life of I don't know if he was born, he may just have been born here, but he was brought up in Canada actually, because the family fled there. And then, of course, one day in 1989, but then a few years later, after court cases, he found himself going from like some ordinary Canadian guy to owning a chateau, a village,
Wow.
2 villages, a forest, and a huge factory in the next town, just because they were seized from his family under communism and now they were being returned. So,
wow, isn't that something?
it's something, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
A few more comments. Where were we? Ganesha trusts dogs more than cats. Maybe.
I kind of disagree. My cats are very honest. They're more independent than dogs.
I've known some cats who are assholes. I'm just saying, but not my cat. And I think like anything, it just depends on how you bring them up.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
like
cats can be taught right from wrong. And like if you let your cat just have the run of the place and do what it wants, yeah, it's going to be a bit of an a-hole. But I mean, and dogs are so trusting. Dogs honestly just look up to you and they just love you regardless.
It's true. The way every day I come home, it's like there's a happy, panting, smiling face waiting for me as I turn the key in the latch. It's like,
we know, Mark, I go for walks every day, and there's a neighbor who has this little miniature Doberman Pinscher or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they're horrible. They yap.
But whenever she's walking toward me, this dog she'll stop. Mm-hmm. She'll look at me and she'll get this delighted dog grin and just wag her tail. And sometimes the owner lets her off the leash. And the dog will just run up to me, just the happiest thing in the world to see me. And I don't know why. I mean, it's not my dog. I don't live with her, but I think that the real thing is that I'm happy to see the dog.
Yeah.
And she says, okay, you're happy to see me? I'll be happy to see you.
My son, I told you, my son has a little corgi dog, a little long-haired corgis, and I'm not really a fan of corgis, but I love that dog. His name's Merlin, and every time he sees me, he's so happy to see me. You'd think that I'm his long lost, uncle or something. The way this dog, but I love that dog so much. He's such a happy dog, and he runs all over, and he's just so happy, And I don't see him often enough. But yeah, dogs are like that. They're just,
There is some kind of, there's maybe more innocence about them maybe than cats. Because I think cats can be great. I had cats as well as a kid.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But you do get the impression that I think sometimes they could be thinking like, well, you're here, you are here for me, and I'm the boss, really. And I don't know, there's just some kind of more devious thinking going on there. I always thought. And plus, I mean, my cat hated me, loved my sister, didn't like me anyway. But So
not to get too dark, but if you were to, one of us were to drop dead tomorrow, the cat would be chowing down on your corpse without even thinking twice about it. You
well,
know what I'm saying?
a dog would, but because I read this book actually with, I don't know if any of you follow Carrie, Very Literary Carrie, but she runs this Black Hearts book club where it's like a little bit darker books, fiction, non-fiction, and we read one called Gory Details, and it's I think it's based off a blog, and one of the chapters was about, would your pet really eat you? And the dog one was actually quite sad, because your dog isn't like naturally disposed to eat you apparently, but if you drop down dead, your dog's initial reaction is to come over to you and see if you're okay. Yeah. And they'll panic and they'll lick you and they'll lick you and lick you and lick you until they draw blood. And then depending on that situation, they might then think, well, okay, it's been a couple of days, I'm hungry, I'm going to eat this.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't, to be honest, I wouldn't mind if it kept my dog alive. Of course, I guess once he was found having already chowed down on his own, probably he wouldn't get rehoused, I guess.
No.
But I wouldn't
mind.
No. Sonia's dog is Samantha. Sam, nice. And Scott and Becky's puppy is Albert. And of course, cool. MJ's is Watson. You see, all great people names.
I love that. Yeah.
Bill says, with the fall of Hyperion, small print and distractions, I'm lucky to read 28 pages a day. Work always gets in the way of reading.
That's for
Zach's
sure.
reading Briggs' War and Peace now because of me. Oh, yeah, Aaron, I forgot you've got a cat as well. Yes. If he doesn't like something, he'll make it very clear. Oh, my goodness. Ganesha, this is difficult. Mark, Greg, and Jim, what's your one go-to book? Well, I have it over here. I can get to it.
Mine's in the other room, but my book is The Big Sleep by Raymond Chandler. But it's in the far room, so I don't have it handy here. That's my go-to.
No surprises for everybody. Oh, yes. Yeah, I would have guessed yours, Greg. So... we need to do that, maybe get a gang of people to pull out their but I think I did do a reading of this, and we read yours not that long ago as well, Greg, but it would be kind of cool if there was a booktube challenge to read like 10 booktubers' favorite books within a year or something.
That would be an interesting challenge for 2025 or something like that.
That'd be interesting. Yeah.
You know what? You probably want to put more than 12 people. You get 20, 30 people submit their books.
If you guys are asked the same question next week, would it be the same book?
Yes, for me, yes.
It would be, yeah.
I could possibly go with Camus' The Stranger as well.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
That could be a close second, or maybe for changing back and forth a bit.
I've got that on the shelves too.
If I had to, Treasure Island, 3 Men in a Boat, one of those two.
Yeah, Treasure Island, yeah. I read that as a kid.
I've got a boat in it somewhere. I'm all right. So
that's awesome. Yeah.
And Ganesha, what about you? Ganesha,
yeah.
See what you say. Sonia says, "What? I've had 3 corgis. How can you not care for corgis?"
Oh no. No, I love the long-haired corgis. Just the look of it. He looks like a little fox. I shouldn't have said I don't care for them.
They're not your favorite.
It's not a dog that was never ever on my radar, but my son's dog, it's just the best dog ever. He's so lovable, and
oh my gosh, because Sonia has she does a lot of work with these birds, parrots, cockatoos, whatever. And she just had to rehome her cockatoo because he bit her face on Christmas Day, and then again a week later.
No,
oh boy,
Jesus, that's so sad. Because it was one of the cool features when you vox with Sonia, you can hear all the noise in the background of the cockatoo bashing stuff around or moving stuff and whatever, and it's like, oh.
Huh.
No, I guess she would know if it was an aggressive bite or just like a play bite. Because I sometimes scratch my cat Pip, and he'll sometimes turn around. He gets really excited. And he like holds onto my hand with his teeth, and
Yeah.
it's not a bite, but it can hurt sometimes.
I don't think they realize, how much they're hurting you. Because
Right.
my cat will stretch on my leg. He'll come up and he'll dig his claws into my leg. And the other day, his nail just dug right in. Oh my God, it hurt so bad. But him, it's him being lovable or
Right.
playing. Like if they're batting you and biting you, that could just be them playing. But they don't realize how much it hurts because their teeth are sharp. Their claws are sharp. Yeah.
And the thing is with Pip is that when you get bit, you squeal like a cat in pain, and that makes them stop because they understand that. Oh, wait a second, it hurts, and it's really kind of adorable. Is that if I'm playing with my cat Pip and I do those squeals to get him to stop, my cat Bella will come up and look at me and like, are you okay?
Really?
She responds to the squeals.
One cat we had before this guy, his name was Bobo. He was another tuxedo cat. But if I whistled, he'd come running, just whistling. He loved that, and he'd just come running, wondering what the heck was going on. But I could whistle for Poe. He wouldn't move. He wouldn't budge.
I'm curious, Greg. What does the sound of an injured cat sound like? It's not a cat, August. Don't worry. It's a fake one. No, for me, it's just an endless parade of toys. In terms of we have to go through, on average, in an evening, maybe 6 different toys. So we had a manky headless flamingo earlier. We had an elephant with all the stuffing knocked out, but this little walrus is still intact and not in too bad condition. But I don't know how much longer it's going to last. He absolutely destroys them. Yet with genuine real life creatures, he's quite gentle. So
really.
Sonia says it was aggressive and it was unfortunate because she had him for 8 years.
That's too bad.
And I was going to ask you, gents, what about animal books? Is there a particular favorite book featuring an animal?
Oh, well, yeah. Jack London, White Fang, and Call of the Wild. Those are 2 favorites of mine. I love Jack London. Those are awesome books.
They are. I mean, those are the only 2 animal books that I can really think of.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know of any books featuring cats really that have caught my attention.
Yeah. Well,
for the hardball.
They could catch your attention.
But... Well, Ollie wrote some books about cats. A Cat Called Hope or something, and I should buy 1 or 2 of them.
I thought he took them out of print. I think he's redoing them.
Oh, maybe. I'm not sure. I don't know. But that's interesting. And I'm trying to think of any other animal books. I'm sure I've read more than those, but those are the ones that immediately come to mind. Hey, Jungle Book.
I've never read Jungle Book.
Yeah,
I've never read it, Greg.
So good.
Read it. You must have a copy, surely, no?
Jungle. I have a CD-ROM of 10,000 public domain books, so it's there.
Because you could read it, and it would be an easy one to knock off your. It's a day's reading, really. So
yeah.
And it's a great book, really good. And actually, how do you count that, Greg? When if you have a book that contains more than 1 book, do you class it as separate books, or because it's physically 1 book?
If it was ever published alone as an independent book, then I can count it. Like I had all my Raymond Chandler is in American. Library of America editions. Yeah. And if I read one, I would just say I've read 1 book by Raymond Chandler. I would not say I have to read all of them to count it as 1.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Michael K. Vaughan would count that as 1 book, though.
He would, but he's he's Michael K. Vaughan,
Yeah,
his own way.
yeah.
The thing is, I think for the well, you said I don't know. I think I agree with Michael K. Vaughan when you're doing the challenge, because the idea, I guess, is to kind of balance the physical number of books you've got. So I suppose if they are in one book, but if it's Goodreads, I know you don't use it anymore, Greg, but if it's Goodreads, I would count them and separate them out into individual books, because in that way it doesn't, because I suppose you have read more than one book for that purpose. I don't know. You see what I mean? I think, yeah.
Because you're talking about the physical space that it takes up on your bookshelf. I get you. Yeah, no,
because I'm assuming that's the purpose of the challenge, is it, or is it just?
Well, I do a lot of my ebooks, so I mean they don't take up any space. So.
I'm sure it's not like you're lacking for space, really. You could probably have again what you've got there and still have room.
He could fit yours and my both of our collections in that basement. I'm sure he could. And
I could. I had thought about that. Is that I could put bookshelves like in a bookstore, like you have hallways or aisles, but I'm at to the point in my life where I'm not going to read all the physical books that I own anyway. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, that's true.
And so
don't be such a pessimist. Try and be optimistic.
Well, maybe they'll find a cure to this old age thing. And
I was going to say, we ain't getting any younger, and we keep buying books. That's the problem. We just keep buying them.
Yeah, but maybe there can be like some kind of, maybe it can help keep you young, keep you going, because you feel like you need to carry on.
Can't die until I read the last book.
Well, I used to have this superstition that I would have to be in the middle of a book before I flew anywhere, because I used to think that it would be terribly awful if I were to die in the middle of a book without knowing what happened. So I always thought, as long as I've started a book before I got on a plane, then it means I would be okay, because I'd have to live to see the end of the book. I'm very weird like this. I do suffer from some kind of form of obsessive compulsion. So,
Yeah. I actually understand that.
For years, I had to wear the same underwear, not like continuously every day, but when I flew, until they actually fell apart. But
I've only been on a plane once, and I'm actually paranoid about ever going on a plane. I mean, like recently when that door blew off, like that must have been horrifying for those people. Thank God, nobody was hurt, but my God, can you imagine?
Oh, it was my nightmare for years, that kind of thing. I saw a thing where it blew out and it sucked like the whole row out, and I was like, no.
I guess I'm pragmatic, and I look at this. More people die in car wrecks every year than will ever die in a year in a plane.
Yeah, but the problem I think as well is when a plane does go down, it's that horrific, because it's like 300 people, poof, gone. Like that.
Yeah, but the problem is, if you're in a really bad car wreck, it's just going to be horrific as well. I mean,
yeah, that's another nightmare of mine. I've seen too many wrecks, and just what a way to go that would be.
Yeah, well, this is why I'm going to move to the mountains, and I'm never going to leave my house for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And then get some blizzard or something. But yeah, I don't know. That's cheerful topic. We've got a few comments. Let's go through them. A few animal books here. Ariane, you're here. Lovely to see you. Wonderful.
Hi, Ariane.
Hello, Ariane.
Ganesha loves Killers of the Flower Moon. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, actually. I still need to see the film. Have either of you two seen the film?
I haven't. I've had that book in my hands like multiple times to buy it, and I've never bought it, and I should buy it.
It's a good book.
You should. It's really good. Have you read his book on Sherlock Holmes, actually, Jim?
No. Who's the author?
David Gran.
Yeah.
I don't think I have.
He wrote a book called The Devil and Sherlock Holmes. And it's like
another one?
I can't remember.
There's been at least 2 or 3 Sherlock Holmes pastiches where he's possessed by the devil. And
no, I don't think
Oh,
I don't think it's.
Well, this is nonfiction, so I don't think he'd be talking about.
Okay.
Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, it's it's actually a collection of 12 articles and essays by David Gran.
Okay.
It's The Devil and Sherlock Holmes: Tales of Murder, Madness, and Obsession.
David Gann. I should know the author because I've had the book in my hand. I'm gonna write. I would buy that.
Yeah, I might get that actually.
Yeah. He has a book, The Wager, that I have. That I'm.
Oh, you haven't read that yet, Greg? Read it. It's excellent.
Well, the thing is, it's been nominated for nonfiction on the BookTube Prize. I am fairly certain it will pass the nomination phase. So
yeah, it was one of the biggest books for nonfiction.
So I may get a. I mean, I'm assuming I'm going to be picked as a nonfiction judge, even though I've volunteered for both, because they're always short on nonfiction judges.
Yeah, I imagine.
Who does the nominations?
Well, Robert will hand out to the judges a list of people, a list of books to nominate. He hands out like 90 books, and then you pick 20. And then he gathers them all together, and whichever books get the most votes pass on to the actual BookTube Prize. So,
what have we got? Scott's favorite animal book is Animal Farm.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Sonia enjoyed Watership Down, but it's just so sad. Actually, Wind in the Willows is actually one of my favorite animal books. I don't know if
I've never read that one either. That's probably public domain too, right, Mark?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's great.
Another one that I have can transfer my Kindle. Probably a quick read.
I haven't read Watership Down or Wind in the Willows, neither one. But I think when my kids were little, I think we had Wind in the Willows, but I never actually read it to them. Read a lot of Winnie the Pooh, which I think is brilliant. I love those stories, Winnie the Pooh stories.
Well, the house at Pooh Corner is also in the public domain now, which means Tigger, the original Tigger, is in the public domain because
that's right. They made a horror film on Winnie the Pooh, didn't they?
Yeah, but they're restricted. I think they have to use if they use the illustrations. I think they have to use, of course, E8 Shepherd's ones, not Disney ones, because they're still copyrighted. But yeah. Zap says I haven't read any of the Cat Who mystery series. Was very popular at the library. And a question for you, Jim: have you got a Goodreads page?
I do have a Goodreads page. Yes. Yep.
Is it under your Mystery and Mayhem or?
No, I think it's probably under my name. Let me look here. I should know this, but
if you send me the link on Voxer, I'll stick it in the chat description if people want to follow you. And obviously, Greg has a well-documented no more Goodreads.
No more Goodreads for me.
Well, see, my Goodreads, it's so I neglect it, honestly. I mean, it doesn't reflect what I mean, there's books on there, but it doesn't reflect even closely what I'm reading or what I've read, you know. But it's under my name, Jim Collins. I don't know. And I've got a logo. I don't know if I'll show it here. Yeah, it's too
it's a little blurry.
It's called Cleft Spine Books is my logo because I had an Instagram page where I tried to sell books on Instagram, and I drew a little logo and called it Cleft Spine Books. So that's my Instagram page too. But my Goodreads is Jim Collins, and I just set up a Discord too. Just last night, I'm sitting there on the phone and I set up a Discord, but I haven't done anything with it yet. But I'm gonna work on that, on having a Discord.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the homes for the homes where the heart is, whether we wanted a Discord, and I was going to offer to do it, but obviously, Jim, it could be a good project for you, learning how to use Discord. So.
There's just so many Discord channels that I can't keep up with them all. You know, that's the problem.
I find it confusing. You know, like I'm on a few. I'm on Ollie's and Roy's and MJ's and Michael K. Vaughn's, but you go on, it just you're lost. There's so much on there, and it's just so confusing, you know?
You should join mine, Jim. There's like...
I'm on yours too, I do believe.
Like 20 people on there, so it's quite nice and cozy. So.
Yeah, that'll be mine.
I'm part of your Discord, Mark, but I don't think I've commented for a really long time.
There's not too much. To be honest, it was dead for a long time. I only resurrected it, revitalized it recently, like in this year. So, but it's nice because I wanted as well, just to bring it back, and also it was handy with some of the stuff I was doing with Patreon again. Sorry to keep mentioning it, but I have to say, neither of you two have got one.
No,
you should get one. It's fun, but then I suppose it can be more like work, of course. But I enjoy it because obviously it's great like this, but you do have kind of even more like interaction with your.
I do have a Patreon, but it was for my art, for my drawings and my art. But I only ever got one person on there. So maybe I should make a new one or redevelop this one for BookTube.
You could keep both on there. I mean, it was interesting because I didn't want to do anything where I had like varying tiers or anything, right? So I decided to go for just one. And I've got I think 22 people, which is nice. Yeah,
that's pretty good.
That is good.
It's good. I mean, it can pay for books each month, as it were. But because I was thinking, someone said to me I should have different tiers, and I thought, well, yeah, maybe. But again, I don't want to, especially the people I've got, make them feel like they have to get something more. And then one of my patrons said that I think it's Scott from Gunpowder Fiction and Plot, is it? Australian booktuber.
I know the one you're talking about. Yeah,
he has one, and it's a really nice idea. So he has 3 tiers, but he says at the top the benefits are the same. Just pay what you're comfortable with. And I thought that was a really good idea because I did have a couple of people actually message me and say, do you have any other tiers? I would be happy to give like $10 a month. And I'm thinking, wow, Jesus, I'm not sure I would value myself at that. And in this way, it's something people can do it,
You put a lot of content on though, like you give them their money's worth.
There's quite a lot on there, actually. I mean, I think I've got 180 posts already, and I've only been doing it like 4 months or something. But I'm doing this daily update, which is something. So,
my issue with Patreon is, my wife and I are doing fine financially. We're not super wealthy, but mortgage is paid, cats go to the vet, and then I see stories like we had Pax last year who had cancer. We had Sean who needed help. And I think is that I would rather, if people had money to pay for people on BookTube, it goes to the people in actual need. That's at least at this point. My wife retires this year, and maybe at the end of next year, I'm going like, ooh, we miscalculated, rather serious. But I don't think it's that. At least for me, I'm not comfortable asking for money when there's actual people in much more need. And
I don't look at it like you're asking for money. I mean, you are providing, as long as you're somebody who actually gives something back in return. There are maybe people who take the piss and just like, and I heard there were some quite big named ones who were doing this as well, like not giving what they promised and charging, lots for it. But like in this instance, Greg, you could take that and the money just sits there. So you could take it, and then when the opportunity comes where someone needs help, just pull it off and pass it forward. It's not, I don't need it either. I'm not, on the breadline, but I thought, well, it does cost a bit more, especially like now I'm in this phase of between houses, as it were. So where I'm paying rent and a mortgage and utilities on both places. I thought, well, buying the new books and stuff does eat a bit. Why not have something that just
maybe, it's just, okay. I just monetized last month. So,
well, I mean, this, to be honest, I think if the funny thing is, like, if instead of monetizing, if I just had a channel where everyone who subscribed to me paid, say, $3 a month, right? Say the price, say price of a cup of coffee. That would be almost 3 times my salary at school.
Oh,
right?
Boy. With 22
it would be
people.
a point where I could basically put most of my effort into that, But I would actually still go to school. But it's just interesting, that little thing where you don't, how it all adds up, where you think, well,
It
actually,
does.
every
But
single person subscribed was on my Patreon. That would be my full-time job. And what a dream job it would be. Imagine the stuff we could create if it was like,
Now, the thing is, Mark, is that if I were to join a Patreon for all the channels that I actually followed,
yes, you would be
broke. That's a problem. There's so many you want to follow, and they say, hey, follow my Patreon, but no, I can't afford to follow all your Patrons. I don't know why mine never took off. I've got like 290 posts on here. It's all artwork and my comic strips and stuff. And I finally turned it off. Like, it's still there, but I don't have any tiers turned on.
What about the one person who was subscribing to you?
Well, he started to tell me how to make my comic strips. He says, "Oh, I think you should have done this instead of this." I mean, that, and then it's not, I'm not doing this to accommodate you. That sounds awful, but I'm doing these for myself. And if you want to join me in it and share in my, my comic strips and what I love doing, and it was only $1. It was only one tier like you do, $1 or $1.50, whatever it was, to look at my comics and my artwork.
But how did you let people know about it? Because I guess you didn't have a YouTube channel.
No, I didn't have YouTube, but I've got a website with my comic on it, which nobody comes on. But I also have Facebook. I had Facebook and my Instagram page, and I put it out there, but not a lot of people, and again, it goes back to what Greg said. There's so many out there, you have to pick and choose which ones you really want to spend money on. And it's hard-earned money. I mean, times are tough for people right now. People can't afford.
When it's $1 or $1.50, a lot of people would just be like, yeah, sure. I mean, I think it's just probably a case of no one knew about it in the end, because I'm sitting here thinking now, I would pay $1.50. I'm curious as to what you've done. Have you actually published anything on comic book, like self-published any of your comics? And
not an actual physical book, no. And I thought
it on YouTube.
I'd love to do that. I'd love to do that, and I should look into that. And maybe in the next little while, I will look into that.
Because you can do print on demand. You don't have to do any of the outlay or anything, do you? So people just order it, and it gets printed and delivered to them.
Yeah. It's something I'm going to have to think of, because I've been thinking about doing this print on demand, like for stories I've written, and that's something I'm going to be working on in the next little while, and see if I can make that work. But yeah, that's not a bad idea. Just compile everything into a book.
I would turn your Patreon back on, and just so people put it on. Even give a week's free trial at first, so people can at least see. Because I'm so curious as to what I had no idea you did artwork and stuff.
But some of my artwork isn't for everybody, though, because it's like figure drawing, and it's pinup stuff. But it doesn't cross lines. It's not like hardcore or anything. But it's not to everybody's taste,
kind of like that kind of stuff.
kind of like that. I mean,
see, Greg's like, oh, I've got $10 a month. Sure, where do I sign up?
Some of it shows more than that, obviously, because I mean, I've never had an issue with the nude body. I mean, it's figure drawing, and when my kids were little, they'd see me doing drawings like that, and but again, it's not to everybody, and some people might look at that and get all up in arms about it. So I've always been hesitant about really sharing that out there for everyone to see.
It's out there now. So
it's out there now. I guess I don't know how many people are on watching, but
25 people. So.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Hang on. We'll just have because I have neglected them a little bit. Where have we got up to? Andrew, read Call of the Wild and White Fang at school. Not my thing. Yeah, it's not for everybody, is it, Jim? Really?
No, not really.
Brutality again, I guess. But
yeah, I like Jack London as a writer. But
Windland, the rat book, was it Firmin? I don't know.
That was a rat book, yeah.
Mark, the nightly dog toy party is happy hour. Yeah, maybe it's an hour in your house, MJ. It's happy several hours in my house. Cujo, Dallas says, would be much more frightening if Cujo was a cat, and absolutely more horrific if Cujo was a goose.
Huh. I was going to say, Mark, who's the squeezy toy keeping happy, you or Elvis?
Oh, Elvis, definitely. I mean, I showed you the walrus. We're already on to the fox now, so you know. Alan's here, but he's probably been and gone.
Alan!
Like 15 minutes ago.
Oh boy.
Ganesha Foster is a nice book. I guess Greg rejected it. It's allegory and really touches heart. I don't know which one that is there.
By Claire Keegan.
Uh-huh.
It's just a little novella, and she's right. It's one of those books that I guess very sentimental in a way, and just did not appeal. It did not appeal. It made one of my most disappointing books of the year.
Yeah, I should. I have it on most of my normal videos, I think, from this year, but I haven't put it in this thing here. Oh, Ariane, that's very kind of you. One of my patrons there. Thank you. Mark, you're definitely providing a service. We're getting something out of it. It feels a bit special. Yeah, I agree. I really enjoy it because I talk to these guys every day. And one of the really nice things we did, and I guess we're doing it again on February the 1st, is having like a live chat, but with all the patrons who can join. So because most of them are commenters that I've never seen, and yet we met like this and had a face-to-face chat. It was fascinating. We had people, in the UK, in the US, Canada, Norway, Colombia. We had an American guy who lived in Colombia. It was really interesting. Yeah.
It's kind of funny how you grow a little bit of you grow an attachment to your commenters. You get the same commenters commenting on all your videos, and you just kind of get to know them in that kind of sense. I think it's kind of cool. You can do that.
Yeah.
And also the reverse can be true as well, though. Sometimes I'm sure Greg knows what I'm talking about.
I've yet to run into that.
All right. No, sometimes there can be the odd fish who can come in and make really odd comments. But
I was talking to Alan today. There's a commenter that shows up on my lives and my video. Apropos, he mentions things that are interesting on the surface, but apropos of nothing. And maybe it's just he wants to say, I've watched your video and can't think of anything to say about the video. So
he just wants
it might be the same commenter.
Could be. I mean, there are a few I've had to just, and sometimes slightly inappropriate comments, not like about me, but just weird, like sometimes like religious doomsday stuff that is weird. Somebody mentioned that they liked, figure drawings, for example. Women, you got, some biblical verse and you're going to hell, for example. Greg mentioned some erotica and get a mess,
That I have run into, like not on YouTube, but on my prior Instagram and on the website and stuff. I've done a couple of comic strips and I have run into that. You get so if you don't like it, don't read it. That's my point.
The whole weird thing about it all, though, is like because you can't actually block someone, right? I didn't realize this. You can't actually block someone from your channel. You can just hide them. So they think, all the while, that it's not that they're still there, that they're normal. It's just that you can't see them. Your other subscribers can't see them, but they're still seeing things as normal. So they can keep, as far as we know, still be commenting away, thinking, nothing's going on. But actually, they're out in the wilderness.
You should be able to.
I've never blocked anyone yet.
No, I saw it. You can't block them. You should be able to block them if you run into like really
or hide them, as Mark was saying.
Well, that's the only option. But to all intents and purposes, they're blocked from you. Yeah, I mean, you don't see any of their comments, you don't see any of their activity, and neither do your subscribers. But it is just so funny that they can still be like, ranting and raving, thinking, why does Mark never like my comment? Because I don't see it anymore because you're gone. Oh, no, maybe not. But what else have we got? MJ 10 to 20% subscribers want to and enjoy sporting creators. I think it's a wonderful exchange. It is. Yeah. Have you got a Patreon, MJ? It seems a lot of people are doing it, and to be honest, I think it makes more sense in some ways doing that than monetizing. I mean, because because you don't get nothing almost at our level from monetizing. Again, it's not really why you do it, but you can obviously get a patron at any size channel, and you'll get people, I'm sure, through this doing it. Oh, did you show them off on the live, or how has Alan seen them? Is he?
Oh, Alan and I were talking on Voxer, and I told him to go on Instagram and check out my artwork on Instagram, because I have them posted in my descriptions on my YouTube. So I guess he didn't want to sign up for Instagram, which I totally understand, because I'm thinking about dropping some social media stuff too. But he did get a chance to see some of them. Yeah, and thanks for looking.
You got another endorsement as well from Gareth.
Oh, cool. Oh, yeah, Gareth, nice. I know Gareth appreciates that kind of stuff, because my style's a little cartoony, and he likes his comics and his cartoons, and yeah, they'd be right up his alley. Thanks for looking, Gareth.
I want to look too now. Actually,
there should be a link. I'd like to see some of that artwork too.
Yeah, let's see.
I think we can look at this. You said they're in the description to your videos.
Yeah.
I haven't tried it before on here. Of course, you don't pop up because I don't usually use YouTube on this browser.
It's fantasy though, Mark. It's fantasy
That's
stuff.
Right. I mean, I can.
You know what? It's just an excuse for me to do drawings. That's all. I mean, the story is just kind of silly, but I found doing the comic strip on a weekly basis, my skill just went up. I got really good, and now I'm rusty again because I haven't been updating it forever.
Oh wow. Okay, hang on. Let me see how that works. Hang on. Bear with me, people. Oh. See, it's one thing cats don't do. Is run off and
well, they're not as loud, but you will get them chirping at birds sometimes. They'll stand at the window and they'll
The cats, yeah. Yeah. He'll watch the squirrels out our window. Oh, there's Instagram.
Can you see?
All right.
Yeah. There's nudity, just saying, guys.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Turn off now if you're offended by nudity.
But it's Instagram, so none of it's really, overt or anything. And
did you do the artwork for your thumbnail there?
Yes. Yeah.
That's really good, though.
That is pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, Red Sonja. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I entered a contest for that Red Sonja picture, but I didn't win. But there's like tons of stuff on there. I have like over 1,000 pieces, I think, on there. I've had it since 2014. So,
yeah, but I like them. Well, probably a little bit racy.
Better than I could ever. I mean,
getting a bit racy maybe for YouTube, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I try not to cross any lines on there. It's
fun. Did it show up as the whole screen, or was it only because I couldn't see?
No,
was it only
you three were off to the side.
We were all three on the side.
Yeah.
Okay.
So apologies for anybody that offended. I hope it didn't offend anybody.
Well, we lost 5 viewers. However, that could all be because they rushed off to check your artwork out for themselves before I put it on. So
it's just figure drawing. I love figure drawing.
I like them actually. I've always liked that kind of caricature-y, cartoony look. Yeah, I'm really impressed. So like the I didn't show it before, but like the aroused, sorry, because I'm reading it when it's small. It looks like Gene Simmons from Kiss, maybe a little bit, the face mask. This actual comic, you did that?
The Oddly Aroused, yeah. And it's not a sexual name. I mean, it's pertaining to how we're all kind of geeks, and that's kind of what arouses our interest, is kind of geeky stuff, fantasy and that kind of thing, and that's what that's referring to. But that's my comic.
But I mean, how do you? I mean, this might be a stupid question. How do you do that? Like, is it actually drawing, or do you use computers in making it? Or
I have a drawing tablet.
Uh-huh.
I have a drawing tablet here that I hook up.
Uh-huh.
And I do them all digitally. But I mean, I've done some traditionally as well. Like some of the early ones were done traditionally with pen and ink, and then I scanned them in, and then I colored them digitally. But now, whenever I do one, it's all done on the tablet with Clip Studio Paint software. And yeah.
I'm with the commenter down below. I think it's Ariane. Says, I can't even draw a stick figure. I am the same way. It's just like even when I was like growing up and trying to draw, it's like nothing looked vaguely like it should. It was just like sloppy.
You don't want a stick figure. Like anything's interesting,
Yeah.
Yeah, like whatever you do is interesting. I mean, I love all artwork, and everybody's work, whatever they do, is like valid, And it takes work, though. It's something you develop over time to get good, Like I've been to so many drawing classes, and it's just something you develop and you get better with. Like anything, you get better with over time.
See, I think you're missing a trick. I think what you can do with your artwork there is move more into the bookish realm to build it up with your, you could do like alternative book covers in your style, or public domain work classics in that style would be so cool. Or maybe even put them on t-shirts, because people have their own little merch stores and stuff. I think they're great. I mean, if you did for me, like, I don't know, some kind of, let's say, a raunchy Treasure Island cover like that with those art, or a 3 Men in the Boat or something, I'll totally get it. Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
brilliant.
I think cool. That's something to think about.
Yeah, I think imagine everybody ordering their favorite book in a Jim Collins version.
Well, I've never really been able to make it work for me, which is unfortunate. But yeah, maybe I just haven't tried hard enough. Or haven't looked in the right places.
Look at the comments, because Greg knows I've fallen behind if he was talking about Ariane's comment. Where are we? Hi, Gareth. Hi, share it, Jim. Hi, Gareth. Hi, Zap. Commenters extraordinaire, I call them. Okay. Well, thank you very much. That's very nice of you. Thank you. You see, Jim, you could be doing this if you had your patron up at $1. I'm sure they would have jumped over there as well.
I'll work on it.
Yeah, it is funny. They're oblivious. They're blocking. Odd comments happen. I try to remember. Some people may have disability. I agree, MJ, but I think I could.
Some people are just odd ducks. They come in, and that's how I think some of the people like. It's like, okay, they're perfectly harmless. They're just saying their weird things, and let them say their weird things and get on with life.
Yeah,
I prefer this version.
My wife works in retail. She runs into them every day. She tells me she's got some stories to tell. Boy,
I think I've just seen Mrs. Collins as well, because I think there might be a picture of her in that Instagram.
I
stopped before I got down there. No,
that's quite possible. It's funny. It's funny you see that, Mark, because the short-haired character is actually based on what she used to look like with the short hair. And now
what I meant was there's an actual photograph of you with your arm around a woman that I'm guessing was her. Not that I'm looking at one of these figure drawings saying, "Oh, that must be Mrs. Collins there. How nice." No. A genuine photo.
There's a photo of her too in there. Yes.
Yeah.
You would be correct.
Summer's here. Hey, Summer.
Hey, Summer.
Another cat person being outnumbered. I agree you should be able to block. That's funny about hiding them, yeah. MJ did start her Patreon back in September. I think it was about the same time as me then, I think. You can block in YouTube. And you can't block, I don't think, MJ. Seriously, I looked it up the other day because I wanted to block someone. And it said you can just hide from channel. Maybe through Google. I don't know. Ganesha believes I might be the youngest of the three here. Well, I'm glad that it's not that obvious then, but my cats are quite talkative, says Summer.
I don't know about you, Greg. I'm 29 years old.
Oh, I'm 28.
Oh wow, okay.
Steve Donahue's 28, so I'll bite the bullet and say I'm 30.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Zach. Thanks for looking.
Yeah. Well, Ganesha has a slightly different opinion. Not art, more like erotica. Ha ha ha. But it's erotic art, or some for some people.
Yeah.
Again, finally, to Ariane's comment there. MJ not offended at all. Art is wonderful. Ariane, I'm an artist, but do abstract work, so this kind of talent blows me away. Yeah, me too. Me too.
Thank you.
Not offended. Gareth says all about practice. Yeah, I was actually thinking that Jim and Gareth should do a graphic novel together or something, maybe. Yeah. Or somebody you could do that with.
That'd be cool.
Because Alan, you see, you've got that. You see, that's what you're missing out on there, right? Is you can publish, you can republish public domain works, and usually you have to add something like an introduction, or it should be an original translation, or up to 8, I think, or it might be 10 illustrations, unique illustrations. And you could do that, and then you can publish it and sell it yourself under your own publishing brand. So you could take Treasure Island, add 8 to 10 unique illustrations to it, boom, 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 and then you're free to sell it on Amazon Publishing.
Really?
You see, yeah.
Mark, I think you can sell anything from Project Gutenberg on Amazon. Just upload it yourself.
Technically not, but yeah, probably you can. Yeah, no, these are the 3 stipulations in order for you to make money out of it. But I agree with you that some people somehow skirted it. I think, if you write an introduction, that introduction could just be, Robert Louis Stevenson was born in blah, 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 blah. Well, he died.
It's funny.
That's it. And then you can sell it.
Because on YouTube, when you see like a full movie, the person who puts that movie up has to have a little bit of an introduction at the beginning of the movie. Then it's more like it's a criteria of the movie instead of just that's how they bypass the copyright for the movie. There's a couple channels like that I follow where the full movies are up, but as long as they have kind of bookends, on each side of the movie, it's more like they're criticizing the movie, or they're like a book critic or a movie critic, so they're allowed to put the movie up. So yeah, that makes sense what you just said about that. I'll have to look into it.
I think you should. I think there's some hidden potential for you to tap into here, because you've got an audience now, and I think, maybe the artwork isn't for everyone, but most people who've seen it here liked it. Yeah. And I would.
Well, and of course that's not the only thing I can do too. Like I could paint barns. My dad painted barns, and some people like to look at a barn, and I could do that. I mean, it's.
You mean as an artist, or as
an artist? He did oil paintings. He did.
So it runs in your blood then.
Yeah, and my mom did portrait drawings, beautiful portrait drawings. I still can't get to the point where she was, and she never practiced it. But she used to do little portrait drawings of us and her mom and dad, and they were beautifully done. So I think a lot of it is kind of hereditary, but then that kind of diminishes people who worked at it as well,
But it probably meant you grew up in an environment where you were able to get a head start in learning to draw and stuff, maybe than others had. So
Could be, yeah. I'd say so.
MJ loves the idea of Jim Collins covers. Yeah, I do. Something like that, I think it would be awesome. It could be a whole range of stuff. Even you could have even Jim Collins bookmarks. That you could have,
sell them on the site. Yeah, do T-shirts and bookmarks and mugs.
I buy bookmarks. I have a whole collection of them, so I would buy bookmarks.
Yeah,
I would buy fridge magnets.
Yeah.
As long as you had something Canadian on it.
Maple Leaf. I'm a fan of fridge magnets.
I was kind of hoping more of a moose, but Maple Leaf, right?
I've got a moose on a fridge magnet on my fridge.
Oh, okay.
So there you go.
Yeah, I forget. Of course, Alan's also. Yeah, he's an artist too, isn't he?
I was going to say he showed one of his drawing of a codfish that he was doing, and it was really good, like a tattoo. Excellent.
We should run like an online exhibition or something. We could do that. I don't know how many other artists there are out there. There are probably quite a few on BookTube. Be amazing. You could do like a online gallery and exhibition. Show it all off. Greg, what's your T-shirt say?
No, it's my banned books T-shirt. I read banned books.
It's got a cat on it as well.
With a cat. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that way, we grow if we get T-shirts. Yeah, good point. Actually, a temporary tattoo. Yeah, some of those drawings would be kind of cool. The tattoo designs for truckers and stuff, maybe
Yeah, well, that's got a good tradition of doing pinup girls as tattoos. Going way back.
Or you could do it as tail art on planes. You can ask Air Canada if you can just.
I like that cat on Greg's T-shirt. Actually, that's a nice piece of artwork with the books.
I don't know. My wife got this somewhere, probably Amazon.
I love that. That's awesome.
That is cool.
Yeah. Oh, MJ used to be an art major. Wow.
I didn't know you were in the army. Yeah, cats and books, Summer says. Yeah, exactly right. What more do some people need? Yeah, Ganesha has a good point there. You see, it's the cat that's banned the books, not the dogs.
Yeah.
Although I suppose it's the cat breaking the rules.
It's the cat breaking the rules. That cat's reading banned books.
Yeah, the dog's towing the line. So,
That's like the graphic novel Mouse by Art Spiegelman.
Yes.
And the Jews were mice and the Nazis were cats. And
my boss asked me to, because I'm starting from February, I'm starting an English book club at school, for the kids. And, obviously English isn't their first language. And I was thinking about some graphic novels and stuff. I know some people do like graphic novel versions of classics maybe and things like that. And I wondered, do you know any offhand, like who do not super difficult graphic novels, but would work for like teenagers? Everybody in the comments as well, if you can give me some
classic books.
Anything that like is suitable for, well, I guess partly for teenagers, but actually also for like, kids who are maybe like 10, 11, 9, 10, 11.
Yeah, that's probably younger than I would get them to.
I was going to say like Watchmen by Alan Moore, but that's not for a 10 or 11-year-old.
No,
and neither's Mouse. Either.
Well, I don't know. I would think Mouse is fine for teenagers. I mean, I would think so because
for teenagers, yeah. But
we have it in Czech at school. We have a Czech version of it.
Yeah.
Question for you, Jim, from Gareth. Have you submitted any of your artwork for the Garbology? Yeah, you should do.
I've submitted a story, and I'm waiting on Ollie and Troy to post the submission guidelines for the artwork. But I'm definitely going to do that. I'm going to try to do up a nice spicy cover when the time is ripe and ready to go. Yeah.
Actually, I was thinking in Japan, because obviously they have the whole anime. My lips have gone funny color because it's like really cold here, and I think they've gone chapped, like from being outside.
Oh.
Yeah, it was minus 15. So what was that? Like 8 degrees or something.
It's been cold here too.
No snow though. It's so cold. I think it's too cold to snow. What was I saying? Yeah, in Japan, they used to do these wonderful series of like manga for history, to get kids into history. So all the history, like the textbooks they would sell, would be these manga books on like, I don't know, Tokugawa Ieyasu or whatever, and then even other, European history and stuff. So it's pretty cool. I wish we could see stuff like that here more.
I know.
There's one I really.
I was going to say about it. No, go ahead.
I was going to say there's one I really like called Lone Wolf and Cub manga. I like that one. It's a whole series. Well, you go ahead, Greg.
Well, I read it a number of years. They did a graphic novel about the life of Oppenheimer.
Oh, I've seen that. I think actually Steve Donahue had it on his channel. It's like green. No, I read it. They use different colors. It's like a what is it? The page is only one color, but they use different colors throughout the book, I think.
I don't remember that.
This is a manga or a graphic novel?
It's a graphic novel. Just like it was a whole history of people, famous people, and telling their stories in the graphic novel form. And
that'd be awesome.
I should look it up again.
I won't complain too much then about minus 15.
Huh.
minus 33.
Minus
38. Jesus. Where are you, Bill, again?
He must be in Canada.
Yeah.
Could be. It's been cold up here. So maybe he's Canadian.
Well, it's also he did Celsius, so I know he's not in the U.S.
True. Yeah.
I was thinking as well. What isn't? I mean, what is? I mean, I suppose I can roundly say what a manga is, because I guess comics are like DC and that kind of stuff to me.
Yeah, what is the difference between graphic novel and manga? Is there a technical?
Well, manga is a style. Is a style of artwork and a style of telling a story. And comics is just more of a generic thing. I mean, Batman and Superman are comics, but they're not manga. But American comic book artists will get influenced by manga, the manga style, and they'll incorporate it into their artwork. But that doesn't make that comic a manga comic.
I have one. Hold on, let me pull up my one manga.
Yeah, I've got some here.
Alan says submitted a very short story for consideration. When's the deadline for art submissions?
I'm not sure, Alan. I don't think they've actually talked about it yet. They said they were going to announce when they're taking art submissions. I don't think they've done that yet.
Sorry, I missed Scott's comment there about I Am Legend has wonderful graphic novel by Steve.
I like Steve Niles. Yeah.
Yeah. I need to get it. I only have one, and it's that Persepolis.
I have this as manga. This is H.P. Lovecraft's At the Mountains of Madness.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
I can see the kanji for mountain, and it's in Japanese style. Yeah, it's in English.
This is in English, yeah. Or trade. It was originally written in. I mean, the original manga is probably Japanese. And they do this really weird thing where on manga is you read it from left to right.
If you get it that way, like some of them, they rearrange everything so it's Americanized, and you read it like we would. But a lot of them that come out too are done where you got to read them.
I think it's kind of cool. I mean,
it is cool. It is
it's
cool.
different, but I kind of like it.
I have some manga around here somewhere, but I'm not too sure where I have them. I'm disorganized, honestly.
I'm not sure Winterland's saying about Greg's Diary.
I don't know either. I don't have a diary.
Maybe a manga version of Greg's Diary, or maybe Jim could do the illustrations for it.
Of me sitting on the couch with a cat. I think it'd be very boring.
Do like an American Splendor kind of thing.
See you later, Summer. Good night.
See you, Summer.
You know what, Jim? For next year, you should do a calendar. Loads of people get a calendar out of that. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
See, I'm like a business manager here. I'm coming up.
Yeah.
Boom.
You're just what I need. You're the agent I need. Yeah.
No, the beauty of it as well with this, if you do print on demand, especially if you do it through Amazon, is okay. You might not get as much money because I guess Amazon takes quite a lot, but it does. Your marketplace is quite big, yeah. So like, if you had a site and you sold in Canada, I would be less inclined to go for a calendar because I would have to actually pay import duties now and stuff on this stuff, right? Whereas if it's print on demand through Amazon, I just order it from Amazon Germany, the same anyone would order it from Amazon Japan, and there's no like postage costs or anything like that. So that's a benefit.
There's really no excuse in this day and age where you can't utilize what's out there. I mean, there's Kickstarter, there's Amazon self-publishing and all that kind of stuff. So there really is no excuse in this day and age not to be able to get your stuff out there. For sure.
I just got it because, of course, Winterland says Greg's Diary, but I'm guessing it's the German, probably a literal translation of the German, because I think the main character is called Greg, and in the American is Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Oh.
So the illustrations, but you've got a good point there, actually, Winterland, because the kids do like reading it in Czech. So if I got the English ones, that's excellent. That's a great idea. Thank you for that. Scott concurs that Lone Wolf and Cub is excellent. Really dips into real feudal Japan history.
It really does. And I love the artwork in it too. It's awesome. I only have like the first 2 volumes, but they're incredible. I love them.
And Bill's in Edmonton, where it's minus 38.
Yeah. Oh, God, that's a dry, cold out there. I lived out west for a while. That gets cold out there. So I hear you, Bill.
And you've got another customer, Jim. A calendar would be awesome.
Oh, okay. You're forcing me to do work now.
Well, surely you'll be happy to just get rid of the day job and become a full-time illustrator. So
yeah, that's the goal. Or writer.
This is Bella.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a cat or like a wild lynx or something you've taken from.
No,
she's huge. Big girl.
She's just fluffy.
Oh, okay.
She doesn't look happy.
Yeah.
Fluffy? Is that her name, Fluffy?
No, her name is Bella.
Oh, Bella.
Elvis is chomping down on toy number 7.
You want down. Sit on my lap.
Ganesh is asking, has anyone completed reading Proust in Search of Lost Time?
I have not completed. I do want to complete Proust eventually. It's just a very big commitment. And we were talking about it with someone about doing a year of reading Proust in 2025, where we just take a year to read everything.
I don't know. I'd quite like to see a Jim Collins graphic novel of Proust in Search of Lost Time. There you go.
I've never read Proust. I mostly pulp and stuff. There's a lot that I should be reading that I'm not reading, but that's.
I don't know what I've done to my camera. I've suddenly grown, like, I was the smallest one, and now I'm the tallest one. So hey.
Adjusting your screen like that.
I think I've put it on the wrong way. It doesn't matter.
It's all right.
Not a big deal. It doesn't matter. Well, I guess, gentlemen, we'll probably call it an evening, shall we?
Yeah. What time is it there where you are, Mark?
It's 9:05.
Oh,
Okay.
And I still have to record my daily update and confess to not having read very much today again. I feel awful. It's terrible. Almost every other day I'm on there thinking, yeah, I'm going to read so much. And then I'm like, actually, it's been busy. Obviously with work and stuff. I've not read as much as I hoped to. So
yeah.
Is that for your Patreon?
Yeah.
How long are your videos for your Patreon?
Well, it depends. I put out like my normal ones, like
Mhm.
24 hours before I put them on. So they're not there like super long. And then there are a couple on there that are only for Patreon, like where I talk maybe about some more kind of personal things that
Yeah.
you feel if somebody is paying for it, you feel maybe you trust them more, right? So it's not
Right.
open to ether. They're not going to be. So there are
Well,
a few more kind of it makes it sound like OnlyFans, then, doesn't it? That's like a few more personal ones that people are paying for.
but you want to give them something that's not available anywhere else.
Yeah. There's a
You
few things
want
like
to give them, yeah.
there's a couple of like little bits of Elvis that I haven't put up on anything else. Yeah, like some short videos. There's a few bits of like writing of stuff that I thought was interesting. But yeah, the videos like the daily I don't know, they range 3 to 5 minutes a day. And actually it's quite cathartic, or it's quite nice to end the day like that, actually, where I just sit down and just talk about what I started off wanting it to be just about what I read, but I actually then continue and just talk about what I did at school that day, and anything like that, and then some of the thoughts
You
I've had.
guys make it look so easy. Honestly, I still kind of agonize over everyone I do, and I guess it gets easier. I'm still like that, but what you guys watching your videos is just so easy. Make it look so easy.
See, I think it's hard sometimes. Like when I first started my channel, I just stood in front of the iPhone, recorded, uploaded. That was it. And then I started wanting to put like pictures of the books on my video. When I'm talking about like a digital book I don't own. And so then I got editing software, and then I got, I can improve things sometimes. I still like to do it just raw, one take. But sometimes you're doing a video, you're speaking for 15 minutes and you say something really wrong, and you go,
I just keep going. I keep going. I pause, and then I start over. I start that little sentence over again, and then I just edit it out.
That's what I do now. I mean, but it's progression. I never used to do that. So
yeah.
But again, there's another nice thing when you have the smaller community of it is, I think I just keep it completely natural. I'm like, I'm so sorry. What am I talking about? What a load of nonsense. I meant to say,
Well, that's also, I mean,
yeah, you're good at that. I've noticed.
It's fine. Like I never envisioned myself going like really professional. Like some people like script their videos and they take multiple takes. And
the problem is you can tell though as well. You can tell when people script their videos.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
At least I can. It's like, because it can be so clear. You can tell either they're reading it as well, which is fine. I actually don't have a problem with it. But when I did something once, people pointed it out, and I thought, yeah, you know what? The biggest thing is I do sometimes maybe need notes, because I noticed like after I've made the video, I've uploaded it, I'm like, damn it, I wanted to mention this and I forgot.
I've done that so many times, but I don't take notes, right? Or at least not for the most. I do, like when I do like tag videos, a lot of times I will write down what my answer is. So you'll see me looking down and reading off the answer, but
yeah.
Well,
I was writing notes in the first few. I was trying the notes, and then it just seemed so stilted to me. So I kind of got rid of the notes.
Well, people, I mean, you get mixed reactions. I mean, like Criminal is well polished in terms of like, I think how he puts out his final videos and whatnot. And obviously people like that. But then other people have said to me what they like is the fact that I stumble over my words. But even when I read aloud, sometimes I don't, especially when you're reading classic works, you don't necessarily know how to pronounce the word. I don't want to read it before I read it aloud as well, right? Because
Right.
I don't see the point in reading it 2 or 3 times. I might as well just read it. So sometimes it's the first time for me, and then I'm like, oh my God. And I'm quite happy to come clean and say, I don't know how I say this. I'll give it a go, and no doubt somebody will correct me. People love to correct you, of course, on
Of course.
YouTube.
And I've done it like reading off the back cover of a book from a hall, and you come across something that you just stumble. And a lot of also is like the print on some books. You can't read the back print anymore. It's like the coloring and the size of the print.
Yeah.
Squint.
I'm lucky that way, because I just can take my glasses off and I can read fine, and small print doesn't bother me so much.
Or I would have to like put my reading glasses on,
Yeah, I'm opposite.
I'm opposite too.
Yeah,
I'm with Jim there. I don't need them for reading, so not yet anyway.
God. Yeah, thank God, eh?
Yeah. One of my teachers at school, she has both, and she doesn't have bifocal. She literally has one perched on the top of her head and the other's on, and it's like,
yeah,
like situation.
That'd be awful. Yeah,
stuff. But I think, some of it is easier. It's sometimes harder now, of course, to come up with things to necessarily talk about or to make. I don't know. Sometimes it can be. But I make less videos now as well. I mean, when I started, I made, maybe one a day for ages. And then, because I've got almost 600 videos, I think, in the 3 years. So it was 200 a year.
I have 600 videos, so I've done a bunch.
That's crazy. That's a lot. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work putting in it. Yeah.
I try to put out something on YouTube 3 times.
That's where I'm aiming for, is 3 times, because otherwise you're putting out too much content.
Well, the one thing I did as well.
Ollie, though, Ollie put daily, and Michael K. Vaughan was putting daily stuff up.
They still do, I think, pretty much. At least Michael K. Vaughan seems to. And obviously Steve Donahue puts up like 3 or 4 videos a day. But I was talking with Randy about this actually, because we're saying like sometimes you're kind of treading on your own toes when you put out too many videos in one go, because when you're newer, I think it is better to go for something like 3 times a week, because you need to save the content, as it were, and also when you put out more than one in a day, people probably don't want to watch it,
right? Especially if they're too long.
And I think the 3-day-a-week system is quite good, because it gives that little buffer where you'll then appear again a day, 48 hours later, and then it's probably
I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but like Greg said, like I keep mine short. Like sometimes if I look at a video and it's like 30 minutes or over, I don't have time for that, and I don't watch it.
Yeah, I know. I have that problem. I had some of my videos go like 25 minutes. I'm going, it's too long. It's too long.
Yeah, I try to keep it to at least under 20 minutes. I don't think I have any, maybe 1 or 2 that are 20 minutes, and all the rest are like less than that.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I waffle on, so I sometimes do go over, but
those are awesome though if you have time. Like I like watching long ones if I have the time to sit down and watch them. So it's a fine line, eh?
It is, but it's a nice hobby though. I don't regret for an instant doing it, and I think I do get terribly hurt when I see a thumbs down though, I have to say. And sometimes it's like, I know I shouldn't, but it's like sometimes I just think, why? Like what is it?
I have that too. It's like, I'm really curious about what they now. One thing I will say is sometimes I'm going through people's videos on my phone. It's small. I hit the thumbs down by mistake.
Yeah.
And then I hit the thumbs up. But I often wonder if that is counted as a thumbs down?
It's counted. If they do a thumbs down, it still shows as engagement on your
Right.
site.
No, but no, it counts like the percentage wise. What thumbs up? Like if the algorithm immediately calculates that as a thumb down, even though you corrected it. I don't know, but still, I mean, now sometimes when I talk about a book that I don't like that's really popular, I can understand getting the thumbs down, but some are just like innocuous. I don't know.
They could give thumbs down for any, like you said, innocuous reason. They might not like your background or the sound or the shirt you're wearing that
well,
day.
they might just not like you. It's possible,
or
as well.
like you. Yeah, and I'm sure that happens, and they'll just give a thumbs down.
As hard as it is for me to believe.
Yeah, you can't take it personally at all, but I understand.
Yeah, but it is more, as Greg says, it is more of just, I wish that if you give a thumbs down, you have to provide feedback. Anonymously is fine, just because it sometimes is a curious instance for me. I'm like, when I did one recently on the public domain books, and I got a thumbs down, and I'm thinking, again, it could be accidental, but I think it's so inoffensive, you know. What didn't somebody like about it? And then there were, I think I did the most disturbing book thing. I got like 3 thumbs down for some reason. Actually, I take it better when I get more than 1 sometimes, because you think, oh well. And actually, also that's another thing. The better your video does in terms of views, the more likely you are to have a thumbs down, of course.
Right, because it's engaging with more people.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to look at my it's on my phone, so it's harder to see the engagement, but you know,
it would be nice to have the feedback, so that if it is something you can improve on, then you can improve on it, and I'll do better next time.
But it's another nice thing about Patreon is the fact there's no thumbs down. You can only like the videos or say nothing. So it's quite a massage boost. And when you asked me before what I have on there, I did just remember that there were a couple of segments I did on my channel, which was like, ages ago, like this off the shelf thing that other people have been doing. I put that on there, and then I had this short story Saturday where I used to read a short story every Saturday. And I enjoyed doing it, and I wanted to do it anyway. And I thought, well, I'll save it as special content on this, because the viewership on YouTube wasn't that good, really. But I'll force the kind of people who pay me to have to listen through something that I wanted to do. But a couple of last comments, that actually, maybe, because some nice things here. Alan's back to the drawing board. Ganesh says bye to us all.
Oh, I think she's gone. Bye, Ganesh.
Thanks for commenting.
Bill says, I still need to learn how to talk, but I make videos anyway. MJ enjoys Bill's channel. Zap says they're myopic and can read small print. Can read or can't read if myopic? I don't know. Maybe I'm misreading that. There's no such thing as too much content for entertaining YouTubers. It's nice. Mark, where can we sign up for your OnlyFans channel? Well, I have thought about doing that, because a lot of people say, oh, you have a nice reading voice. And I thought, well, maybe I could read erotica from Project Gutenberg on OnlyFans or something, with artwork by Jim Collins. So there we go. You could do the audiobook covers for me there.
Yeah.
Haters gonna hate. I get 1 thumbs down for every single video. Yeah, you see, MJ, when it's that, it is somebody who just doesn't like you. That's what I'm convinced. It's why I stopped that Movember thing, because I was getting but it happened in one day. Someone went through my entire back catalog of these daily videos, thumbed down them, and then left unkind comments.
It could be just a troll too, just a troll.
Yeah.
Right? There's so many out there. But honestly, why would they hate MJ's videos?
Michael Caborn, I get thumbs down all the time. I guess it should be no surprise. And MJ says, it's Roger. Not you. But maybe it's Roger giving you the thumbs down, of course. So, speak of the devil. If you mention Steve Donahue in your description, you get more views. Really?
Oh, really?
Well, he mentioned my
You may get
channel.
more thumb down.
Maybe.
He mentioned my channel on one of his episodes, and I got a lot of likes from that, a lot of followers, I should say. So yeah, that helps.
But you do, and I mean, these things work to some degree, right? I mean, I'm sure, for example, obviously Criminale again has loads of subscribers, but I think the impact they have in terms now of certainly established people, maybe more like you, Greg, and me, who've been doing it for a few years. I think if people have subscribed to Criminale, they would have come across us by now and subscribed.
They would have known. Yeah,
exactly. So, and same with Michael. If he was to say tomorrow, "Hey, I watched an awesome live with Jim from Mystery and Mayhem, Mark from Book Time and Elvis, and Greg from another Bibliophile Reads," possibly Jim, you would get a bolster because you're fairly new still. But they know we exist, and they have floated their boats by now, I think. So
well, that's how I found Criminale off. Like, I used to watch Michael K. Vaughan all the time because I started watching him because of the Robert E. Howard stuff, and he kept mentioning Criminale, and that's how I found Ollie's channel. And then through Ollie's channel, it just everybody else, it just spreads.
I always use Michael as a measure of my failure, though, because I think if I remember rightly, we started like the same week.
Don't do that.
It's very harsh, you think, but Michael's awesome, of course, and
without a doubt.
Well, I won't mention a channel, but there's another channel that started basically the same week I did. I follow her all the time, and for the longest time, she had more subscribers than I did. And over the past few months, I've outpaced her after going on 3 years, and I have no idea why.
But you have to post too. Like I think Ellis for B-Roll Books started about the same time as me, but he still only has one video, and I've been waiting for him to put stuff up. So you gotta put it up. You gotta put stuff up, and now even if it's bad, or you think it's bad, just put something up. And people expect to see you all the time.
Well, that's the most important thing, is the whole engagement issue at the beginning. I mean, and Michael and I and Vin and a few others were all kind of around the same time. Vin from Revenant Reads, similar time. And you would find that we were in those early months all the time commenting back and forth on each other's videos.
Yeah.
And that's how you kind of build your initial following. You have to. And it's like with your Patreon, Jim, in the beginning, it's probably no one knew about it. But when you put yourself out there, like with your YouTube channel, you do it. And MJ does it as well, when she's always commenting on the newbies and saying, welcome to BookTube. It does work both ways, of course. It helps. It helps the newbies, but it also helps to grow MJ's channel too. It works. The commenting is your friend in terms of growing to a point, and until obviously the algorithm takes over. And you saw it recently with I don't know if anyone watches Joe Spivey. He's new. I mean, he's pretty new. He's been on Steve's channel a couple of times. Young guy from England, and just after Christmas, he put out a video and it hit the thing, and he went from something like 400 or 500 subscribers. He's now in the space of a week on 2,000 something subscribers.
Wow!
Picked up and bush, off you go. So, gosh, Roger, not you. If you mentioned Steve. Michael K. Vaughan, now it's full circle. I met you all in one chat as a family. Nice. On the stats for a video, you can see what search terms found your video. I never
looked at that.
I looked at that. I guess it could be interesting to look through how it kind of pretends it works. Need an undead mummy. Well, we'll get one, shall we? We'll get little.
Well, we need all have our own icon. I mean, he has an undead mummy.
Well, I have a live dog, but I guess he's never on camera because he's shy and he's actually passed out on the floor right now. You can see down there. Oh no, he's woken up.
It's so hard to be a dog,
He's next to Stalin. Oh.
Well, I've got a big Batman figure over here and a mannequin. I could feature them in my videos.
Maybe
Is the mannequin your model for your drawings, or?
Well, I do use it for reference sometimes for lighting and stuff like that. It helps. But yeah, I've got a big full size, like a big Batman figure about this high. You can't see how high, but yeah. But my son got it for me because I read Batman comics. But I mean, Roger works. I mean, it's brilliant, Michael K. Vaughn with Roger. It works for him. I think it's great.
But I think I don't know. I can't remember. But I think he started doing well before Roger came along. I can't remember. I'm sure you correct me. B-roll's taking a pause due to life, not because of content.
Oh,
now that
sorry to hear that.
That I don't understand. I have to say, Scott. I think I love it when you and Becky are there together chatting away. It cracks me up.
Too. But the thing is, I noticed this when I was doing Poetry Thursdays. Every time I put out a poetry video, I lost a subscriber. Every time. And it's just like, okay, I guess some people really don't like poetry.
But I mean, I find the whole I don't know if it's psychology or whatever behind unsubscribing interesting, because you really would have to do something terrible for me to unsubscribe to you, because it's not like, unless you are really subscribed to tens of thousands of things and it just gets in your way. I mean, I get annoyed sometimes with some of our group or booktubers who schedule bulk scheduling of lives or whatever, and then suddenly it like floods your feed. Maybe you're not subscribed to these people, you haven't seen it, but like they might have decided they're doing reading sprints for the next month, and then suddenly you click on your subscriptions, you've got like 8 of them all in a row coming up, and that can annoy me, and I might think, oh, but I don't think I've ever really unsubscribed
from a comment they make. No, I can't think of any.
Well, I mean, from a video they've put up, I've never looked at, like, it would have to be pretty horrible to actually make me go through the, clicking the button and do it. And it's like, it's sometimes really weird, especially when you say you put up a video, or as Scott says, you put up a video, you lose subs, because it's almost like someone has been away for a while, they've forgotten you exist, you've popped up, and they thought, oh yeah, I meant to unsubscribe from that person.
That's possible.
That's how it seems.
Now, the way I unsubscribe, every 6 months or so, I look at my subscription feed and see who has not posted a video in a year.
Okay.
And well, okay, that person. I mean,
I still, speaking about B-roll books, I still follow him. I wouldn't unsubscribe because his video he put up was brilliant. And that wasn't meant to be a criticism of him. It was just an example. But I'd love to see more of his stuff. And like I would never unsubscribe. Like I'm subscribed to him, and that's the way I'll stay. And I hope he's okay and he starts putting content up, because his video was like brilliant. It was so well done.
But that again shows sometimes how it comes down to luck as well, because there are plenty of. Well, I mean, even take Scott and Becky there. I cannot believe they haven't reached 1,000 subscribers. I know they had a huge 11, but also that was the thing. 11 months off, it would never cross my mind to unsubscribe from them, because I always thought they'd be back. But
I didn't unsubscribe because I knew them very well. These are some channels that you watch them once or twice. They're cool. I'll subscribe, and then a year later. A lot of them are like newbies that put up like 3 videos, and you can say, okay, they probably just dropped off. And
that happens a lot, I imagine. But life gets in the way for people, people start and then life gets in the way, and God knows what happens.
And also, it's not for everyone. Not everyone wants to put a video out every week or multiple times per week or whatever schedule. And
but you see, I still think when I make those little videos about why you should start a channel, is the fact that you're right. It might not be for you, but you won't know that until you've done it.
Actually,
right? So, I mean, you take the plunge and do it, and if you decide it's not, then you're not. But you know it. The worst,
you just have to do it. Yeah, for sure.
You could have been the next Michael K. Vaughn.
Maybe. You never know. Also, Mark, I was going to say one thing. It's like I put up cat videos, shorts. and sometimes they're really successful, and you hit like 10 subscribers.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of those people come back, oh, he's talking about books.
I'm here for the cats.
Well, I actually, that comment is pertinent to me there. It is funny sometimes when people say, "Hey, Elvis, you've got nice taste in books," because they do think sometimes, of course, my name might be Elvis because, you know.
Well, until you said your name was Mark when I first started, I thought your name was Elvis. Oh, I said, oh, his name's Mark. Oh, okay. Who's Elvis then? Oh, it's the dog. Well, it wasn't immediately evident.
It was just one of those things where you had to choose a channel name, and I thought that's a nice name. Of course, I never thought afterwards about any, practicalities of it, and
it's very endearing.
Well, it's just I had dreams at the time that he would be like a Frida, and like gently perched behind me, and and the funny thing is, generally, like if I take the phone and I try to film him, he looks away. It's almost like he knows. He's just like, camera shy or whatever. But
yeah,
Bill says most popular video has a search. His most popular video has a search for Steve Donahue for 10.4% of the views. Grix agrees with you, Greg, about Poetry Thursday. I find poetry to be the most popular genre among non-readers, but the least popular among readers. Courtney's here. Happy day to you too.
Hey, Courtney.
Hey.
On a general basis, of course, I love poetry more than anything. Ellis is a great egg.
Yeah, he was one of the first people to comment on my videos, Ellis. So yeah, I hope he comes back and he starts posting stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had some great things to say on my channel.
Ganesha has some expectations for us. All you booktubers should read one book each month and come live discussing it with our different views. Honestly, Ganesha, I'd be quite happy to read one book in a month.
We sort of do that. We did
we kind of do it. I mean,
Spy came in from the cold, and
yeah,
we're going to be doing it for Home is Where the Heart Is.
I was actually going to ask about that, but I was going to ask privately, but I suppose we can ask now. Have we had any thoughts about if we're doing a group read for that? We don't have to say what it is yet because we don't know, but shall we? Are we going to try and do a group read for each prompt? Because that could be kind of interesting to talk about.
Well, the problem with that is that it's so widespread. We'd have to agree on a novel.
I meant amongst like the hosts, let's say, because then it's something we'll talk about.
Well, I know Greg and I are both reading Sign of the Four for the first prompt.
Right.
So I thought that was in the back of my mind. I'm thinking, oh, that'd be kind of cool if we all did that one, But
we have people who are new to homes, and I don't think Sign of the Four is right for new to home.
Part of the appeal of this is that there's just so much out there, and I'm so curious to see what everybody comes up with for their prompts, because there is so much out there. But I thought it was cool that you and I were going to read the same one.
Yeah,
and I'd be curious.
There'll be more. There'll be more reading that book.
Yeah,
I can read it. I haven't. I hadn't given it thought yet. Actually.
Because
it's so comforting that it's like I could choose anyone really. So I didn't actually think. I was worried more about the short stories, which one I was not worried, but there's more to choose from. So I was thinking
the short stories. So you're going to read just a story or one of the collections?
No, but that's it. I don't know because I have these weird collections. I have there's Penguin English Library ones where the stories are mixed up. They're not in the same as they were published yet or put out later.
That's the one I'm doing. It's a Wordsworth classic, The Best of Sherlock Holmes, and Arthur Conan Doyle chose his 12 favorite Holmes stories, and the editor chose 8 of them. So they're all mixed up, and that's what I'm doing for the second prompt, which I kind of it just changes it up. It makes it more exciting and varied, and I thought that was kind of a neat thing to try.
Here's an idea that just popped into my head based on something earlier that Ganesh said. What is your one book that you would choose? maybe instead of doing across one channel, every channel we sort of agree have they pick their book and say, let's have a discussion about this book. So 1 month I do this. Mark, you would do 3 Men in a Boat. You would do The Big Sleep. Other channels would pick another book. So instead of being just one book club with each channel, just each channel shares the book club. And they host and they talk about one of their books.
That could be cool.
Yeah.
That could be cool.
That would be MJ saying like the book 2 book club. I know she has a little comment down there.
Could be good. Oh, hey Karen, good to see you. Oh, Jenny's here as well. Hi Jenny, nice to see you as well.
Hey Karen, hey Jenny.
I'm just really annoyed. Yeah, I don't know if you heard my device behind me beep. I was telling Jim before I ordered a couple of things from Amazon, and they do this all the time. It's like, what is it? Delivery attempted with your package. Hi, Mark. Unfortunately, the courier ran into an issue when attempting to deliver your package. It's bullshit.
It's a scam.
The package has sat in the depot 30 kilometers to the south of me the whole day, and now they're claiming they never sent the text like it was on its way or anything like that. It's just to put in, I don't know, their numbers or whatever, and then they'll actually seriously try and deliver it hopefully on Monday. But it just annoys me.
I don't think it's a real delivery. I think it's a scam.
It isn't. They haven't been.
The post office used to do that to me. I've never had that happen with an Amazon driver, but the post office used to do that to me all the time. Oh, we attempted a delivery, and I've been home all day long, and they backdated the notice that they put up on the mailbox, and you never tried. And I don't know if it's just they have too much, they're too busy and they just don't want to bother with it, and it's easier for them to do that. They'll deal with it another day. I don't know what it is.
Here it's not Amazon, right? It's what happens is, I guess this is Europe, I guess, but so it's Amazon Germany. It's possible the book is not actually coming from Germany, but coming from Slovakia. And they hand off without ever handing off to a Romanian courier company. And they log it in their system as Prague, Romania, like RO. And even the time slots follow Romania. But this Romanian company somehow is the middleman that hands off to a Czech company, and of course they don't have everything in sync. So this Czech company is the one who sent me an email saying, we've received your package and await further details. And so the tracking stuff and the information in there said, okay, it arrived in Hradec Králové, which is like the state capital of the area I'm in, at 5 o'clock this morning. Now, normally it would be on a thing by 9 a.m. But I'm thinking, today's Friday, and the courier drivers are like, well, I'm not sure I can be bothered to drive all the way out there towards the mountainside on a Friday in -15. I think we'll wait till Monday when there's more stuff to take out there. And that's what they've done, probably. So we'll see. I mean, it's not a big deal. I just wish they'd be honest, so it doesn't set my expectations, So
that makes sense to me. Exactly. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. That's what's going on.
And I'll not be angry if it gets here on Monday.
And honestly, I mean, they have a tough job. Like, I know couriers, it's a busy job, and I know what they have on their plate, so it's understandable. But like you said, at least be honest.
There's no time for them. They're literally boom, 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 boom. Between deliveries. Yeah, it is tough.
Yeah.
And seems Scott's had similar issues as well with Amazon drivers. But that's the thing. That's the thing, Scott. Though, if they said like, we know we'll have a couple more packages coming on Wednesday, and today's Monday, we can bring it out then. If it's not urgent, who really minds? I'm not going to mind. I'm not going to read the book between now and Wednesday, as long as I know it will come. It's fine. But anyway, I think we'll stop there. Obviously, hang around a little bit afterwards. And thanks for watching, everybody. Do have a great evening, day, wherever you are. And
thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone, for showing up.
Yeah, comment.
Bye.
Take care.